What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's been really nice here weather-wise in Virginia. I know you guys are concerned about my local weather, so I have to tell you it was very good here this weekend. Anyway, I've been busy. I've been working a lot. This summer's been crazy for me. However, I was able to keep up with all the news from Comic-Con while I was at work using this thing called a mobile phone. I have Mint Mobile, so, you know, just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, I was able to keep up with the news, so I've seen all this stuff. I know you guys have seen all this stuff. We're going to be talking about Marvel and DC today, as well as a few other random things if we have time on the stream. We're going to go over all the major news and announcements from Comic-Con that I found interesting. And I waited till today because I knew yesterday if I streamed, it would have been right like in the time period where everything was coming out. And it would have been really hard to put together a cohesive stream. So today I have topics set aside. I hope you guys are ready to chat about it. If anybody in the chat has topics that they want us to discuss that I forget about or we don't have slid in here at some point, you can super chat and say, hey, we want you to talk about this. And if you super chat it, we will talk about it because I might miss actual regular comments, but we'll see how it goes. I have some guests that are here already. We have some other people that might be showing up later on. So let me bring them on to the stream. I'm pretty sure that you guys know them. They've been on many, many times before. Nevertheless, it is always good to have extra people in the house for one of these streams because otherwise you just be listening to me talk and you might get bored of that. So we have 3Dub here. Welcome to the stream, 3Dub. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let me turn on names. I always forget to turn on names because when I hear about myself, people know who I am. So let's do that. All right. 3Dub is here, and I'm sure that he's going to be the voice of reason when I start to fly off the handle. We'll see. We also have Darth Bunyan is here. Good to see you. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. I'm sure you have a lot of opinions about things, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this. So many things to discuss, so many things to talk about. Anyway, as you guys know, there's not really a spoiler warning because like you either watched Comic-Con or you didn't. So there's no reason to say, look out for spoilers. We are going to be talking about something that is a little spoilery, but I can't show it here because it's being copyright struck all over the place. So we'll talk about it. And I have one screenshot from it that I will attempt to show. However, if you're watching this on playback, just know that if you are not here live, and I have to say this every time, there's a high probability that some of the stuff we watch today will be removed from the stream because of copyright or like my appeals get denied or whatever the fuck goes on with that.
It was hilarious because Twitter has never like hid videos before. Mm-hmm. And there's been like a bunch of trailers about the Fantastic Four and like within like 30 minutes it disappears. Like,
yeah, I saw the trailer. I watched it several times though. So I've already seen it. So, yeah. We'll talk about it. I'll tell you what I saw in it. So here on YouTube, if you search it, people are they're putting, and 3W, you'll appreciate this because you edit videos. They're putting like 3 other trailers that will not get claimed in the video and then sticking that trailer in over top of the ones that are playing. So there's 4 trailers playing at once, and that's one of them. So it makes it really hard for the bots to detect that one specific thing because there's multiple things playing in the window. It's like sneaky people learn how to get away with everything. So
there's a loophole for everything.
There is. So I have a few things set aside here today. Let me talk about our main topics. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Doctor Doom news, and that will like also cover the title changes to the Marvel films, as well as other things related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have a infographic of like stuff that is set up for like movies that are coming out in 2026, I think that's the infographic because a lot of stuff is coming out in 2026. We know that some like I'm guessing, and I didn't even realize this, that there is a lot of properties and things like that got pushed back even further because of the writer-actor strike or whatever that went on. Look at that. We love love. They got pushed back even further because of all of that. So a lot of these projects that got delayed, we have a little bit of a more solid date on them. Also, we're going to talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine film briefly. I don't want to do spoilers here yet, but you guys can give your thoughts and opinions on it. And then we're going to talk about the sales numbers for that. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. So I'm really, really excited. But let's go ahead. We're going to start out with thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine and how it's performing right now. And chat, I want you guys to chime in because you might have watched my video, but you have not had a chance to talk with me live about it. So keep it light on the spoilers, please. I know a lot of them are already out there, but I don't want to spoil too much of it in the stream. So we'll start out with you three, Dub. Did you see Deadpool and Wolverine yet?
Obviously, yeah.
Okay, all right. So what are your overall thoughts on it? And you can do light spoilers if you want, like talking about it, things like that.
Where to start? Like from the first scene was awesome.
Yeah.
How he just like light spoilers. So okay.
Yeah, you can do light. I don't want to spoil the end of the movie. You can spoil.
Okay, I won't spoil
the end. Spoil the end of the movie.
Basically, there's a whole writer's contract thing where he's like literally talking about like it lost from Fox, moved over to Disney, all that blah blah blah. And then the opening is like, you thought I was going to, ruin the memory of Logan. You were wrong. And then Dick begins to dig. It was hilarious. Basically, I gave this film.
What would you give it numerically out of the scores? Like, what would you
Infinity out of 10 for me. That's how I liked it. That's how much I like it.
That is absolutely high praise. So Dark Bunyan, light spoilers and thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, and then what would you score it 1 to 10?
Oh, by far and away, like if not the best MCU movie, then definitely a top contender for me. Absolutely incredible debut into the MCU for Deadpool. They couldn't have done more with what they have. And they give us everything. Honestly, everything just hits the wall. It's insane. It's perfect. I loved it. First watch, 10 out of 10. I'm going to go and watch it again on Tuesday. So we will see if it holds up on a second rewatch. I will say...
We're going to see it again because I want to see everything that I missed, because I know there's a lot of stuff in it that I probably missed in the first viewing. So
too busy cheering when everything was going on, and yeah, too many laughs at the jokes, and then you miss some other jokes.
The third act, I think the third act, there was a lot of jokes in it, like visual gags that I probably missed.
Was your theater packed?
Mine?
Yeah.
Mine was full, and actually, we ended up having to get put in another. So this is the weird thing: we had to move to a different theater because they oversold tickets somehow, and they opened up other viewings. So the theater was almost entirely Deadpool and Wolverine. Wow. Like there was almost nothing else in this Cinemaplex. So it was very much
there was only like, I have basically mine is a small town. So I have like, there was all jam packed, and there was opening like Thursday opening. The first showing was only had 2 rows empty, and I was in one of them because I liked being in the front.
Yeah, like initially we were going, so we went with friends, and we had a change in the amount of people we were going with. So the numbers went from like a smaller number to a larger number. And so we had to get a different showing. So we went to look for it, and we couldn't find anything really. So we had to go to a theater much further away. I think it was like almost 30 minutes away for me to go to get seats, because they opened up, they opened up more viewings, but they overbooked. So we ended up in a overflow theater. It was a smaller theater with a big screen, but the theater was full of people. The energy, I have to say this, and I didn't talk about this in my review, which is still available if you guys want to check it out. I mean, you guys have already seen it, but if the chat's missed it, it's available. The energy around this movie was so like infectious. People were just like, there was no, at least in my area where we were at, there's been no negative vibes about the movie. It feels like everybody was very ready for this film. Do you think it was the delay in the scheduling for Marvel films, or do you think it was just the fact that it was a Deadpool movie with Wolverine in it? What do you think it was?
I think with the writer's strike over and nothing affecting it in the standpoint of like promotional wise, because there was a lot of promotion. Like they didn't miss a promotion. And
some people said they over promoted. That was one of the things I mentioned, is that it felt like they over promoted a little bit, like they spent a little bit more money than they probably should have. Also,
like, I think they, like, when watching the trailers, they don't really, it's like they 180'd us. It wasn't exactly what was said in the trailer.
To be fair, I think the trailers also didn't show much more than like the first act. I think we only saw the first act.
We basically
a little bit of the second act, I think. So
Yes. But there's a whole like middle part that didn't show. Like it was basically it felt like 20% of the movie was shown, where 80% wasn't shown.
Mhm. Yeah.
And even they miss though I don't I heard over with Kevin Feige, he basically said that the only reason why we disclosed XS is because she wanted to be in the premiere.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, also I want to say that probably so I know that they didn't expose all the cameos because there's a lot, by the way, you guys. There's a lot. They saved. There's 2 of them that they saved that I was excited about, and when I saw it in the theaters, I kind of freaked out. Matter of fact, chat. This is I want to say them, so I'm going to give you guys a 5-second countdown before I say what it is. I am going to spoil it. So it's a 5-second countdown. I'm going to spoil it, and then we will move on. Like get y'all's reaction, and then we'll move on. Right. So if you haven't seen it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 2 cameos that I'm glad they did not spoil were Human Torch and Blade. Those are the 2 that I'm glad they didn't spoil. And Gambit was fun, but Human Torch and Blade was like my favorite too.
That speaking of like Gambit, that was I literally heard like every line to where he said, because I was like, I know he's going to probably say something. He basically said that he was born in the void.
Yes,
which makes sense because his movie wasn't made yet.
Right. Okay. Spoilers done. If you're watching with us muted, spoilers done. Done. Okay, so I gave it like an 8.5, almost 9 out of 10. But I think that might change when I go back and see it. Maybe when I get more of the like little bits here and there. Overall, though, this made me a fan of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I even said this to Paige in my review. I was like, I was not a big fan of him as Wolverine, but I feel like this movie, in my opinion, and you guys in the comments can roast me all you want, this is the best version of Wolverine he's ever played. In my opinion,
yeah,
I think it's better than Logan.
I'm flashing back to the mono. I want to say without spoiling it. What's the montage? The flashback to the montage.
You can say there was montage. You don't have to say specifically. People.
No, I was trying to say without describing the scene.
Oh, yeah. The comic accurate one was funny though. Like
I was trying to avoid that, but well.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't feel like that's spoilery. I feel like the montage thing has been all over the internet. It's really hard not to spoil. Matter of fact, most of the stuff we're talking about is spoiled. But
like I'm walking on eggshells here.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We'll talk like next week. We'll do a whole like thing. Like when I go back and see it a second time, I'm probably going to want to do a stream talking about it.
Funny that you knew what I was going to talk about.
No, I knew. No, it was really good. I enjoyed it, and again, I'm not shocked. And matter of fact, I want to share. I don't. You guys know that I don't care too much about sales in general. I feel like that's just not a good way to judge quality. But this is not about quality. I really just want to talk about like what it's looking like for the movie right now. So here we have the sales, and as you can see, 438 million worldwide already. Before the end of the week. Like we don't even have the actual numbers yet. These are all projected sales based on tickets that were pre-purchased. 205 domestic, 233 international for 438 million opening weekend for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
I don't foresee a world where this movie doesn't make close to $1 billion or surpasses $1 billion at this point. I mean,
beyond yeah. Honestly, I would be very surprised if it doesn't at this point.
Because with these numbers, it has definitely made its money back 100%. And it's probably took a big chunk in advertising. Again, I feel like they over advertised the movie, honestly. And I know other people feel that way. So they probably spent a little bit more, but I think they wanted to guarantee that this movie got out there. You know what I mean? That people that knew about it and all of that. I saw at Disney, they're already doing like Deadpool and Wolverine skits for kids. I'm like, what kids like, no offense, but what kids like saw this movie that are at Disney? Like, I'll be very honest with you. This movie is a full-on R-rated film. There's nothing in this movie that is appropriate for like really young children.
I
like,
will say that there isn't like nudity anymore, because after the first one, I'm glad they stopped with that, because I took my mom to the first one. Never again.
Yeah. Arguably, though, it's still the most appropriate out of the three.
Yeah, I guess. You know, there's a. I think that they pushed it as hard as they did because they know that the next time we see Deadpool is going to be in a PG-13 film. Because he will definitely be in some sort of a crossover movie. He's going to team up with somebody, or he's going to be in a group film, and we will see him again. However, I'm almost 100% certain that this movie will get that this franchise will get a fourth movie. I mean, it's almost guaranteed at this point.
I kind of want Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Yeah, that has to be a thing for sure.
I think it would be better for Spider-Man to be in Deadpool's movie than for Deadpool to be in Spider-Man.
That's why I said Deadpool first.
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I think like if you're going to put Tom Holland Spider-Man in Deadpool's movie, he can be a bit more outrageous, whereas in his own movies he can't.
He can actually say the S word.
I think what will be funny is he's going to be like a Boy Scout, and Deadpool is going to be the potty mouth, like filthy one. And that's going to make it hilarious.
What's funny is Spider-Man almost said the F word at the end of Far From Home, where he saw where his identity got revealed, and he goes, "What the?"
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought that was kind of cool. Congratulations to them with that film. I think that's amazing to see that their hard work is paying off for them. And look, I see a lot of people trying to dissect the movie, and it's not really that kind of movie. It is a popcorn movie. You go to, you have fun. You're not supposed to think too hard about the stuff in the film. You're really just supposed to enjoy how comic booky it is, because this is a comic book movie. It is like the plot points in it are very loose and they kind of flow throughout the film, and that's because the movie is literally a live action comic book.
And they weren't.
I cannot express that more than I am here.
And they weren't afraid to say what they did wrong. Like, Deadpool was like,
they were self-aware.
He's self-aware, but he's also like, he speaks to the audience to where, I know a multiverse, let's not just dial it back a little bit. He basically says like that, like,
okay, that I called. I've been calling that for months. Okay, and I have to say, like, yes, it is a popcorn movie, but the issue with that is, like, without spoiling anything, they add some like mechanics into the project, right? And I kind of had this thing earlier, like after my conversation with Rita, and I was like, I overthink a lot. Do you know what I mean? I tend to like just sit there and overthink, and I'm like, dude, it's just comic shit. It's comic shit. But on the flip side of that, one of the reasons that they're getting such high praise is the intricacies that they place in their projects and have done, which is what we've been trained to look for.
Right.
So sitting there saying, don't look where you've been trained to look is a bit of a slap in the face.
Well, it is, except for the fact that Deadpool was never part of their plan from the beginning. He's being added in after the fact. So I think they want this movie specifically to feel more like Deadpool than MCU. Which is why, because if you go back and you look at the other two Deadpool movies, they had a helicarrier in the first movie with no explanation. How are the X-Men existing in Deadpool in any capacity when that franchise has been fractured to shit? So I think they wanted this movie to feel like Deadpool sort of doing what Deadpool does, which is flying by the seat of his pants. I think we're going to see a more cohesive version of Deadpool as like in the MCU. I think we're going to see them nail it down a bit more. You're right, though. I think a lot of people are struggling with forgiving some of the more comic booky elements of Deadpool because Marvel has a very wide spectrum of content that it makes. Like if you look at, we're going to talk about it in a minute, Captain America, Brave New World, like the spy espionage thing, like they did with Winter Soldier. You look at that and you're like, how can that exist in the same world as like She-Hulk and Deadpool? Because those franchises are so vastly different. But I think what we have to remember is it's like, for example, we all live in the same world. we all have friends that are different. Some people are more serious, some people are more funny. We just have to understand that that's how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is too. Like every project has its own personality and identity, and it does exist in the same world, but it's like having different types of friends. And that's how I've sort of accepted it. But there are issues with, like, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I like I told Paigey, if I were voting and ranking it sheerly on my love as a fan, like I would forgive it for everything because I just had a really good time with the movie. But there are some things in it, like the pacing was a little weird. The third act dragged on a bit. There are things in the movie that I felt like, as a film, did sort of get affected by it. Not art, not the artistic part of it, but like some of the choices they made in editing and pacing, especially in the third
If I
act,
had to be critical about it, if like I'm giving it still an infinity out of 10.
No, you can. I'm not judging you for
But
rating
if I
it.
if I have to be like critical about it, I think that the villain was put there for Deadpool to fight.
Mhm.
Like she was just there. Like,
Well, I found
placed
it. I did think she did a good job though, because I had no interest in this villain going in, like whatsoever, and found her very interesting to watch.
And she felt like she got redeemed at the end too.
I also want to point out that this villain, Cassandra Nova, that we will probably never see a version of her again. I really feel like this was very specifically, like you said, something made for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I don't know for sure 100% if that kind of character would work in any future projects. I just don't think we'll see her again. We might. I could be completely wrong. She could be the very first villain in the next X-Men movie, but I don't think
it
we'll
feels
see her
like
again,
it was more like a nod to the fact that she's Xavier's sister, if that's a spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler.
Okay. But yeah, it feels like it was just a nod to the comics to where, hey, this is some what is it, reference to a story in the comics to where because I didn't know that Xavier had a sister until
she's a relatively newer character. She was introduced more recently. Like, when I say recently, I mean within the last 20 years. Like, I believe she might have been around in the 90s. But I know her as a more recent iteration of that version of her. Like the one we got in Deadpool is a more recent version of something that's more of a modern character. I don't really like, so I'll be honest, I don't like that story in the comics. I don't like the idea of Xavier having a twin sister or whatever. But doing it in like a movie where the Void is in it and it's setting up Deadpool, like I don't have an issue with how it was handled, because this is a character we will probably never see her again. She'll probably never get mentioned again. And if she does, it'll be years down the road, because I do feel like, there's a bigger discussion to be had with that. So anyway, congratulations to them. And I'm hoping for another strong second weekend. If they get another weekend like this, they're going to be fine. So
can I just quickly say as well, not to like poop on anybody's parade that's come before, because I know some people get told not to look at source material, but you could tell, like you could feel that these guys are fans.
Oh yeah,
and like the covers that are in this, that's all I'm gonna say is just the shots that get chosen that are just ripped out of comic books is just pure class. And I can't praise it highly enough.
That's why I can't wait to see it again.
I will say, like, this feels the most Deadpool movie ever, where he physically and like can like move the camera, and literally every movement, if you've seen the opening where he's doing the bye thing, the camera moves with them.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. All right, so let's move into our Comic-Con news. That's what everybody's here for. So we're going to jump into that. Starting out with the big story, and this is the one that kind of has everybody losing their minds, okay? So we got the announcement, this was from the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige, that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU, not as Tony Stark Iron Man, but as they say, as Dr. Doom. Now, I told 3Dub this before we got started. I know there's a lot of snippets and interviews that are going to be made over the next week or so, and maybe down the road, where they're going to talk about details around this. I don't think any of that factors in for me, because we know that they don't tell us the truth a lot of the times. I mean, like, look at the past projects. They have either outright lied or hid stuff from us. So I think interviews with like Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, you can toss those aside at least for the next 6 to 8 months, because they're not going to tell us a bunch of stuff. So all we know right now, to be completely honest, from my perspective, is that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom in this storyline. That's what we know. Now, I know people have some different opinions on this. I'll give my opinion, but first I want to jump to my guest today. We'll start with 3Dub. What are your thoughts on this? And then Darth Bunyan, I want you to give your thoughts. And feel free to say whatever you want. Again, I want everybody to express their opinion about this in the chat. You can do so as well. Like, literally, whatever you guys feel, just feel free to say it.
For me, he's a variant, and I don't really. For me, he's not like touching the death of Tony Stark. So for me, I don't really like have a problem with it. I think I'm curious more than like, no, don't do that. I'm more like intrigued. I'm curious. I'm intrigued. I'm nervous. I
What are you nervous about? Be specific there. What are you nervous about?
I'm nervous about like how he's going to portray him, because the fact that we haven't really had a good Doctor Doom in the history of movies. So it's kind of like the only good Doctor Doom is the comic book. If you
there's been some good animated versions, but you're right, live action there hasn't been. Yeah,
not live action.
Right.
But because even if you go with like the whitewashed thing, to where like RDJ is being whitewashed as Dr.
Yeah,
Doom.
I had a comment here as well, and I think Darth will probably chime in on that a bit. Twitter absolutely hates it because he's not Romani, and I think that's going to be a big talking point for this moving into the movie, and we'll see how they react to it.
And if you go back to Tony Stark, he's whitewashed too, because he's not Latino. So it's kind of like he pulled it off.
Right. So my question would be, are you saying that makes it okay for you, or are you saying that they've already done it, so you don't have a problem with them doing this because they've already done it before?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Because they're doubling down, it makes it fine.
No, like, it's worked out before. Let them try again.
Okay.
So that's your final thought, 3Dub?
I'm nervous about, like, obviously it can be very, very bad, but it could have a very, very good.
Okay.
So
well,
it's 50-50.
and Cody is bringing up a point that they also did this with Wanda, and I do remember there was drama around Wanda being cast that was not someone of that ethnicity. So they've done it before. I'm not saying that makes it okay, but I just want to point out that, yes, I think they've done it with a lot of characters in the MCU. But
also kind of hard to, like, be mad at them because they're the ones that created the characters. So,
well, the people that make these movies didn't create them. So
no, I mean, like, they're all tied to the same thing. So it's kind of like,
okay, all right. So
with Wanda, it's kind of worse with Wanda, right? Because like they started off with her accent and it just slowly filtered it out until it was just gone in a matter of like months. I mean, comparatively to what it was. Crazy.
She had a really good dialect coach.
Darth Bunyan, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. Honestly, I am appalled. I am so pissed off. Why the hell are you going to sit there and make slate announcements just to sit there and mess everybody about, fans and your actors alike? Okay. I cannot even begin to tell you, like, get into the whole Mahershala Ali thing, because that's a disgrace. Okay. And now, because, like, let's be real, if we're being 100% honest, this is because of the Jonathan Majors incident. Okay. And instead of just recasting, which is what they should have done, they have just said, right, well, there were a few fans that were complaining, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Not everybody was down, and instead of just sticking to their convictions and their guns, they've just basically wiped the board with phase 4 and 5, and then just stuck Robert Downey in the middle of it and gone, here you go, here's the MCU's Jay Leno.
Right.
Like, what the hell are they talking about? This is insane. I cannot believe it. How dare you? There's not one actor that you think that could have took Jonathan Majors' job. Don Cheadle was fine for Terrence Howard.
Mm.
So what the hell? Why are we here? Why is this not safer down the road?
I have my theories about that, but I'll let you finish. Or is that your thoughts now, or you have more? I want to give you a chance to say everything you have to say.
Honestly, it's been an afternoon of this, so
yeah.
like you crack on,
okay.
on.
All right. Feel free to chime in at any point because I'm going to start a little bit of digging here. So I heard about this last night at work, and my initial reaction, to be completely honest, was like, really? That was my initial reaction, only because I feel like this is a rubber band response to the struggles of Phase 4. And it's almost a slap in the face to all of the fans who have been showing up for Phase 4 and 5 and defending it. And this is no offense to Robert Downey Jr. I like Robert Downey Jr., so this isn't me like going after Robert Downey Jr., but that was my rubber band reaction to this. And then I started to like think, okay, so what are they doing here? And the reason why I said I'm dismissing all of the interviews and stuff like that, okay, is because they have time to craft this in a way that makes it less problematic. And I hope that they actually do that, because right now it does feel like we want to specifically go after the money, which is something that we have been fighting back against, that Marvel cares more about the art and the characters than they do about the money. Even though they do have board of directors and shareholders that like money, but they didn't seem to care too much about that with some of these other projects. I think the Marvels underperforming like it did might have pushed them a little bit further in this direction, because Robert Downey Jr. does bring money into the franchise. I mean, he's kind of a big draw for them. But I don't think they're learning the right lessons in this, because the right lessons is people would love to have Tony Stark back as Iron Man, and, to have that character back, Tony Stark as Iron Man with RDJ. Do we really, and I'm asking the chat this, I'm very, very curious what the chat thinks. Do we really want to see RDJ playing the absolute worst villain? And I say worst, I mean like the best villain, but the worst villain. Yeah, right. One of the most evil characters in Marvel, who is a character that, if you look back at their story, they've tried to, humanize Dr. Doom a bit. He is a layered character, but at the end of the day, the character that we know as Dr. Doom is an extremely selfish, evil character. Do we really want to see Robert Downey Jr. playing that character and basically putting his foot down, the boot on the head of all the people that have loved him? Because to be fair here, we don't. Gosh, it's such a complicated thing.
Honestly,
we don't know if he's actually going to be. We don't actually know if he's going to be Tony Stark or a variant of Tony Stark. I know they said he's not, but again, I don't believe a fucking thing they say. We don't know if he's going to be a variant of Tony Stark. We don't know if he's going to be Victor Von Doom. Yes, other actors have played other versions of characters in the MCU, but we're not talking about side characters. We're talking about arguably the biggest character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was Tony Stark, Iron Man. We're talking about that character. This is somebody that is going to look like Tony Stark if they see a face reveal. Mm-hmm. Which brings me to my next thought on this is maybe it's voice acting. Maybe he's not going to be in the suit all the time. Maybe we're just going to hear his voice most of the time, and there's going to be somebody else under the armor. I don't know. We don't have a lot to go on in terms of that.
The curiousness of it is, do you know how much every single hero knows Tony Stark? So for them to see him as you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Having him as the villain who looks like the guy that saved the world, it would be, how would the heroes react to it?
But that's what I mean. So the layers to this are, if there's a face reveal, right? In a Spider-Man,
it's going to be cooked face though.
What is it's going to be? What?
It's got to be a cooked face. Like it's got to be
yeah. But
all
the
damaged and
point,
doomed.
so my question is, this brings me all the way back to the beginning of my statements. If they're going to put him in prosthetics and make it so that no one recognizes him, which they very well could do that, what is the point of bringing him back in the first place? So if they're not going to be using that as a plot point in the movie, what is the point of bringing him back other than to sell tickets to fans?
Yeah.
That is my question, and that is why I'm sort of torn about this, and I have some issues with it.
Have theories that he's going to be sprinkled out throughout the next few movies. Like
even worse.
Cliffhangers to where he's like doing something in the background, especially in Fantastic Four. I think there's going to be a cliffhanger, the end credit scene where he's doing something, sprinkling out like Thanos, to where his brain starts to grow powerful and powerful until he gets his own movie.
We have a few comments here before I get into more thoughts about this. Look, I'm not totally opposed to it. I want to be very clear here. I like Robert Downey Jr. and maybe he could knock it out of the park. Maybe we're complaining and it doesn't matter to them because he's going to do such a good job with it. He's going to be on the press tour. Robert Downey Jr. is great in interviews. He's a team player for Disney and Marvel. Everything they want from Robert Downey Jr., they're going to get out of this casting. However, there's still other things that I think are problematic. Obviously, the idea of, like, once again, casting someone of a certain ethnicity that is already underrepresented in media as someone who's already had their shot at being the biggest character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
to me, it just says that like they have lost any integrity, right? I've been a massive supporter and not like apologize or anything, but like I've always sitting there and praised all the movies and this. But this move just feels like they've used Jonathan Majors to throw phase 4 and 5 under the bus. And they're saying, we don't feel like the new guard is enough to stand by itself. So we have to get our poster child back ASAP because we're panicking.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. Like, how dare you?
No, this is 100%, I believe, 100% about playing nice with the studio and making money off of it. I don't believe for a second that there wasn't someone out there who could have played Dr. Doom that was not Robert Downey Jr. Like, I'll be completely honest. But again, I like Robert Downey. I'm so torn on this because I like Robert Downey Jr. So I think that is what they want. They want people to be torn about this because they do love Robert Downey Jr.
This is my point. It's like it was panic stations. We're having to just wipe this away because we don't care anymore.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, how do we fix this? Oh, yeah, here we go.
I think for me that the first mistake was literally King, like him being defeated by an Ant-Man and a Wasp was a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to like show him he's powerful. If he can get beat by Ant-Man and Wasp, there's no need for Avengers.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that wasn't the evil version. That was a evil version of King, but it's not the only version.
I mean, like,
that was the whole point. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, any King should be more powerful than.
Well, I mean, they defeated King in Loki as well. So I mean, they like so. All right, low watermark here says this is the cash grab. That's what it feels like to most fans, I think, at this point. At least what I'm seeing online. But again, like you said, you also made this comment. People like RDJ. So it's like this tug of emotions. It's almost emotional manipulation from Disney and Marvel, to be honest with this. Because think about it, like if they would have brought out some other actor, we would be having a completely different conversation about it. But because it's RDJ, we're like, it is what it is.
He hasn't been gone long enough to ride the nostalgia train that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, he needs some more time away from the franchise for that to be a thing. It's insane.
Yeah. Low watermark. We're going to be talking a bit about comic book stuff from Comic-Con. If you're interested, let me know, and I will. I'll send you a link if you're interested.
It feels like a smart publicity stunt. Like, hey, I know how to get money. Boom.
Yeah. Ragu says, I love Robert Downey Jr. as an actor and now an Academy Warner, but picture him as Doom is kind of hard, but we'll still give it a shot. And I think that's kind of the reaction they wanted from people. I'm not saying you're wrong, Ragu, at all. Defunct here, Team Airrick member as well. I feel like it's a lazy casting choice, to be honest.
Deadpool will definitely remark about this. I guarantee you, Deadpool will say this is lazy writing.
Yeah. Serenity here says no, because I don't like him or his face. I also can't see him playing this character, but I only know the comic version of this character. Who knows what twist the MCU will have.
My God. I feel so much better that she said that, right? That I don't like his face thing, that happens to me and I can't explain it.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple. There is a version, and this was mentioned earlier in the chat before we went live, and I think 3Dub brought it up. The infamous Iron Man, which is a version where Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man, which to me that's a different story. That's literally Dr. Doom becoming Iron Man, not the other way around.
For me, I think they're going to do a loose adaptation where it's reversed, where Iron Man becomes Dr. Doom.
But see, that's the thing, is they're going out in the press and going, "Oh, well, this isn't a variant of Tony Stark." So I mean,
I think, like you said, they could be flat out.
No, they absolutely could. But I mean, again, they like. What's worse, though? Do we want this to be a variant of Tony Stark? That's the thing. Do we want this to be another version of Tony Stark, or do we want it to be something like the What If story, where Victor Von Doom swapped bodies with Tony Stark, and it was Tony Stark's body with Victor Von Doom's mind in.
I would extremely hate, like flat out hate, if they like bring the dead RGDA of the Sacred Timeline and make him into Doomsday. I would absolutely hate that.
Into Doomsday.
Like they, the
Doomsday at Marvel, Dr. Doom.
No, I mean Tony Stark, the dead Tony Stark of the Sacred Timeline. They bring him up and turn him into Dr. Doom. I would absolutely hate that.
I don't. No, that 100% they're not going to do that. I don't think that's possible at all. But I will say that if they do a story where it's a swapped mind, like he looks like Tony Stark, but it's actually Victor Von Doom in his mind, that might make it a little bit better, because then it's more about Tony Stark's visual representation instead of him being that character. But that's a What If story. It's one comic book. I don't know if they'll ever do that. There's also an Iron Man from Earth 5102. I think it's what it is. Hold on, let me look this up. Am I right on that?
2012?
Hold on. Iron Man Earth 5102. Is that a real one? Yes. Yeah, Iron Maniac is his name. And essentially his armor is designed to look like Dr. Doom, but he's not actually Dr. Doom. Even though he's used it as an alias there, like he did use Dr. Doom as an alias, but it's actually Tony Stark. And so that's possible that it could be something like that. Not totally sure. Let's see here. Hold on. All right, we have another super chat here, or another chat that we got a super chat and a member chat. Greg W says, sure, it's fun to see good actors playing villains. They're often hungry to break the mold and give terrific evil turns. So a little bit more optimistic about it. Okay, cool. Here we go. Cody with a $5 super chat and a Team Airrick member. Thank you, Cody, for supporting the stream. There's a theory, and this kind of confirmed it, that Jonathan Majors in his contract had a clause in his contract that prevents others from being Kang. Huh. That's kind of interesting.
If that's true, then that makes sense why they didn't recast him.
Would that make it better to you guys? Like if you knew that was the case, that Kang couldn't come back?
Yep.
Why would you agree to that?
I have no idea.
I
don't know. Maybe he agreed to that.
No other guy can be Kang. No,
it would make sense for Jonathan Majors to want that, but does it make sense for Disney and Marvel to do that? That's the question. Because Jonathan Majors would not want, if you sign up as Kang, you want to be included in everything from the TV shows to the movies to everything. So that's probably why he would want that. Because look at what happened with Loki. Great version of Kang, in my opinion. So you have Loki, and then you have the Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and any other movie that comes out. That is a huge paycheck for him. But why would Marvel and Disney do that unless they thought that Jonathan Majors was absolutely the only person that could play Kang? Maybe they had faith in him. Like maybe they thought, well, this guy's going to nail it. To be honest, he did nail it in Ant-Man and Quantumania. Like he did. He was the best part of that movie in terms of like acting. But
the story was crap, though.
We're not going to get into a debate about it. Not going to do that today. That's it, Cody. Though I didn't hear that, but thank you for the super chat. We have a member chat here from Lone Wolf. Tony Doom can't wait to hear Evans as Magneto. Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine if they brought out Magneto?
Oh my gosh!
Holy crap! Holy crap!
I kind of think it'll be I think if it would be kind of more funny if they brought the guy that's in the young the X-Men First Class stuff, that Magneto back to play Magneto.
Right. Let's see here. Hold on. Also, we know now that the movie's titles have changed. So it's going to be Avenger. Is this the right order? Tell me if I'm wrong here. Avengers Doomsday and then Avengers Secret War. That's the order it's going to be in now.
No, it's going to be Fantastic Four first steps, then Avengers Doomsday, then Secret Wars.
I just meant with the Avengers movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think it's Doomsday and then it's Secret War. So okay. So we also got, and this might get snipped out, so we'll talk about it in case it does. Let me see here. There it is. So we did see that there was a trailer for the Fantastic Four that leaked, and a lot of people were curious because they haven't actually started the primary filming yet of the movie, apparently. So, or by the time this trailer would have been made, so they didn't have a lot, but they did throw in a few things here and there. We got to see the team together. It's very Jetsons. So if you're like, we're talking about a retro futuristic vibe. The way that the city looks, the way their world looks, it's very much the Jetsons. There's been shows and movies that have sort of felt like this. If you look back at things like the Fallout series, where it is like a time in history where like everything feels sort of like I don't want to say steampunk. That's not the right word I'm looking at. Retro futuristic is a thing. So I think that's what it is. It's sort of doing that aesthetic when it comes to these characters. But one of the big things in this trailer that it's getting removed, obviously, because it's only shown at Comic-Con and somebody filmed it. By the way, I don't know how they managed to get away with that, but they did. So it got uploaded. It's getting claimed all over the place. Is the reveal of what Galactus is going to look like. A bit of it, right? Very tiny bit. We get to see him through a window.
It better be a person. It better be a dude. It better be just one giant space dude. If it's a cloud, I'm walking.
I'm going to warn everybody right now. I'm going to show everyone the picture of the shot. We get to see like a little bit of Galactus. Okay. This is a warning if you don't want to see it, but if you're here, you want to see it. I know y'all want to see it.
I'm here for it.
So here's a
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Still shot coming up now. That is Galactus's face in the glass of I'm assuming the Baxter building.
Ooh.
So not a cloud. Okay. He's actually in the suit. That's the helmet. And that's the eyes.
Thank God.
So we are getting a proper Galactus. And there was also apparently a drone light show after this Hall H that showed Galactus in his suit with his helmet on and everything like that. This is amazing.
Yeah, because there was no way. After getting Arishem the Judge and like all of the other Celestials, there was no way that they could not make this a dude. Do you know what I mean? That was like, we know you could do it. Like, good for them, man. Good for them.
To be fair, he's CGI. But
I don't care.
He looks like a person. He looks like a person, which is what Galactus is supposed to look like, you know.
Yeah, this is all I needed.
Yeah, Newswire podcast says they basically affirm he's a Celestial. It makes sense. It makes sense that he's a Celestial.
Is Dormammu a Celestial?
I don't think so. No. I think he's an interdimensional being.
He feels like he's an Avengers level threat.
He is, but I think in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, celestial beings are just like intergalactic cosmic beings that are extremely powerful. That's the vibe that I'm getting. So, like, we had Ego was considered a celestial, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's just these cosmic level or whatever. They're making him a celestial because I think they don't want to deal with the idea of his real backstory, which is he was around before the universe was created from another race of people, and then he survived and blah blah blah. I don't think they want to go with all that. I think that's just too much exposition for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so they're going to make him a celestial. People can be mad about that or not. Look, I'm just glad we're getting a visually comic book accurate. They're holding on to the fidelity of Galactus. So
was Galactus in Silver Surfer? I can't remember.
What is what
was
now?
Galactus in Silver Surfer?
Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, a fucking cloud of smoke and space.
Oh, that's why he's like you. Okay.
Yeah, that was awful.
I thought he was Dorama.
And the funny thing about that was they actually discussed in production of that. Let me take this down off the screen. The funny thing is, in the Fantastic Four movie with Galactus, they actually discussed making him a giant person, and they just decided not to do it.
Oh my gosh.
What a dumb decision. So we're getting a comic book, from what we can tell, a comic book accurate visual representation of Galactus, which I think is really cool. And I think he'll probably be very similar in personality. They're just changing his origin story, which I think for most people, look, to be fair, us comic book nerds, we know about all that stuff. But I think the general audience doesn't know that. They're just going to see him and be like, holy shit, there's this giant guy that eats worlds. Like that is frightening. So anyway, silhouetted animator here with the $2 super chat. Earth F4's Earth is overpopulated. Celestials send him in. Yeah, I guess that could make sense.
I also think like this Victor Von Doom is from the Fantastic Four universe, to where the only reason for Fantastic Four to be on Earth 616 is for them to either follow or him tag along.
That makes sense. Do you think he's going to be in an end credit scene for Fantastic Four?
Well, I think he's going to be an end credit scene in Thunderbolts, and then it leads into the end credit scene in Fantastic Four, to where the Fantastic Four go to Earth 616.
Right. So I am of the mind that the Fantastic Four have not existed in the sacred timeline.
No, I don't think. I think that was added in later on, probably, or that came in later on.
I still think like the phrase thing you guys chart in the 60s clarified that there is variants of them in the sacred timeline.
Right, and I think that's going to be something they're going to have to deal with in the movie. Like they'll probably talk about that at some point. So yeah. Paigey is here, everyone. Paigey has arrived.
Welcome.
Okay, but the issue is if they are in the 616 and they're just a band, that makes the sacred timeline, or like the prime versions, the booby prize of the variant. Every other one is a Fantastic Four member.
Maybe. Paige, we sort of moved on from it, but what's your opinion?
No, you gotta be a bit more hopeful. I'll be streaming tomorrow, mate. It was at 7:00 my time that you started. Like, you gotta give me the heads up. I stayed up and watching the Olympics, and then I wake up. I'm like, look at my phone. An hour and a half ago. We're starting in half an hour, mate. You could have told me ages ago.
You told me to tell you 30 minutes before, and I did. I posted 30 minutes.
Yeah,
before
I would have also wouldn't have minded an actual time. I thought you were going to be streaming in like 3 hours.
I asked the question. He said 5:30 his time.
Yeah, but you're in America. You're in the actual time zone. You're in the same time zone essentially.
No, it's 4:30 for me.
Well, the only thing you missed is the Doctor Doom discussion, because we talked about Deadpool and Wolverine for 30 minutes. So,
okay. Well, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I jumped to conclusions there.
Doctor Doom casting, we talked about that, and then we very briefly talked about Fantastic Four. What did you think of the Doctor Doom casting of RDJ? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I understand why they've done it. Like, I think it's pretty clear the pickle. I don't even know if it's a pickle, because they put themselves in the pickle. Like, it was an unwanted pickle. Does that make sense? Because just recast Kang. What the fuck are you doing? Just recast. Like, it's not like Jonathan Majors was
Thank
is a
you.
massive thing, or he was in a $1 billion movie. He was in Ant-Man, which no one saw, and Loki season 2, which wasn't this massive performer. Did okay, but even then he was playing some weird variant that had like different hair and was like goofy. Like, just recast Kang. What's going on? Why'd you do that? In regards to the actual thing, the way that they've gone about it, though, I think they went the most difficult option possible by just not recasting Kang and just going with that story. I understand the angle they've gone for. They've gone for the Band-Aid option just to do something where it works. And like, I think it depends on the what do you call it? How, like, what the Doctor Doom situation is, because I think this is based off the fact that he's going to be in both Avengers movies, and I think I saw something last night before I went to bed where he's going to be in Fantastic Four.
That's what we were talking about, discussing how that would be, whether or not he would be a major character if he's just.
I think I saw Collider saying it, so he might be like, I guess Galactus is the main villain, but he's there or something and set up.
Yeah. Well, that trailer leaked for Fantastic Four, and we looked at a picture of Galactus's head, but
I don't know why they called it a trailer, because apparently like none of that's going to be in the movie. It's all
no. This was all put together as like a promo thing for Comic-Con.
Well, it's just test footage. It's over the top. Like, it's like normally when like people just do like pre-roll footage. Maybe some of it will be in like I think like a video or something like that. But
I think Galactus will be in it.
Like, yeah, he was cast, wasn't he? Like cast ages ago, wasn't like the voice actor?
No, I meant like the what they did for the visual effects. I think that looks good for Galactus, but we haven't seen like the full picture of him yet.
Oh, yeah, it's just the top of his head.
Well, they're not going to do, they'll do like proper Galactus, whether it like looks goofy.
Yeah, no, it looks from what we can see in that shot of him looking through the Baxter Building, it looks like straight up.
It's just whether like you look at it and you like sort of shake your head, because obviously some things don't translate that amazing to live action. So that'll be why it'll be interesting to see what it's like in live action. But yeah, with the Doctor Doom thing, like it depends how you handle it. Like, I think in theory, it looks awful. It sounds awful. Like bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play the character. And I know people saying it reeks of desperation and stuff, but I think it's more of a Band-Aid fix rather than we're struggling, because they've got Deadpool and Wolverine, which is confirmed to make well over $1 billion now.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that. What did you think about it? We said $500,000 or $500 million right now. So like,
it'll be $500 million like by tomorrow or something like that, or something like that. So like it like they've got the X-Men coming up, and obviously in regards to Marvel, I'm sure they have their fingers crossed that Fantastic Four works out. That people.
I actually think it will, because that trailer, I was looking at the people commenting on the trailer or the test footage or whatever. They're like, we're fucking back. Like, everybody's going crazy because of Galactus being comic book actor.
We're dead. We're live. We're dead. We're live.
No, I actually think, look, this is why I put it as a question mark in the title of this video. I think that everything Marvel did at this showing, including the questionable RDJ thing, for them on their end, is a success for them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think, like, as I said, the RDJ thing, I think in theory, like, I think you have more questions than certainties, if that makes sense around it. Like, I don't think, so
and Pagey.
But I think it's more like how it plays out in practice. Like, I think he might, he could come in and not be very good as a villain. Like, that's
absolutely.
the thing.
You're absolutely right.
Or like, he can come across to be very corny as a villain. You're like, oh, this is meant to be Doctor Doom. This is meant to be like top tier, and he's coming across as like Ben Kingsley, Mandalorian. What's his name? Mandarin. Yeah. Like, it comes off a bit like Ben Kingsley, great actor, but he's playing like a weird character. So that's in just an Iron Man movie, not both Avengers movies and lead villain of one of the Avengers movies. So that's probably the concern. But then again, it's Robert Downey Jr. So like,
well, I mean, let's go ahead and, because those were the main stories. Let's kind of breeze through the other stories and get our opinions on it. So Thunderbolt seems to be getting a really good response from Comic-Con. They put an asterisk on the title. I
think that's just going to come out and be a like fart in the wind. I don't know, mate, you might notice it and then it just blows away. But at the same time, I think there's enough fan favorites in there.
Did you hear what they said about it? What people are saying about it? The stuff they saw?
I saw that they're like, well, I didn't know. Not in regards to like quality. I just saw like a description where it seems like it's like almost like
they said right now that it's reminding them a lot of a James Gunn movie. It's very like the concept of the film and like what they're doing with it.
Well, I was going to say, I think it might be a creeper.
Galaxy type thing.
A prequel.
No, creeper. Like slowly gain
creeper.
an audience.
Sorry, I thought you said prequel. I'm like, prequel to what?
It's a sequel if you think about it.
No. I mean, I'm hearing like from what I'm reading in the articles and stuff like that, the response to what they're planning on doing with this film, like in terms of what it's going to go, the direction it's going to go, it feels very much like in the vein of a James Gunn movie. And if you had to compare it specifically to one, it was that Suicide Squad movie that
it
was really good.
Because what it sounds like I saw the description. It sounds like it's Suicide Squad, but none of them know they're in the Suicide Squad.
Right, which I think sounds exciting to me. Like the fact that they don't know they're expendable makes it interesting.
Yeah, I think it just depends. I think the setup sounds good. Like it sounds like the actual lead up to them discovering they're all just being screwed over, because it sounds like from what I read it was like they're all tasked to the same mission. That's a suicide mission, but none of them are in coordinates with each other, so they just show up at the same location.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like a intervention or something.
I know that, and this is like straight up no cap at all. I really like the idea of that movie because I love the idea of villains being like sent to do heroic things. I think that's interesting. We're gonna look at the trailer for Creature Commandos 2, which I know came out a couple days ago. So we'll look at that. But yeah, go ahead.
Wasn't there a villain that was teased either like in D22 or something, or is it D23 always? Where he dresses up in this like costume, and he had okay.
Wait, what are we talking about?
It was Guardians of the Galaxy 3 villain. Okay, that's what
okay. All right, so
I'm really looking forward to seeing Bucky and US Agent reunite, because that was insane in the show.
Yeah, I love that. And look, I will forever be a fan of Winter Soldier. I love that character. So I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see him in a room with other people that are problematic, because he's always been with like the heroes, like ever since he's been like reformed, he's been hanging out with heroes. So I think it's interesting to see him, set up with other like villainous characters.
He's
not the worst one in the room. Yeah, it's great.
I kind of want like High Evolution to like be back, because he seemed like Avengers threat too. From what I saw.
I mean, to be quite fair, I think the issue with that is that what that character was doing was so egregious. I don't know if they'd bring them back into like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, they were experimenting like heavily on genetics with animals and stuff. Yeah,
Animal rights.
I'll be honest, that movie, I think that movie would have made $1 billion, but there was a lot of people that didn't see it specifically because of the animal stuff, and they didn't want to see animals being.
It made close to $1 billion.
No, it did, but I think it would have cracked $1 billion otherwise. So,
speaking of $1 billion, have you seen how cooked 2026 is? There's like 8 movies, which is a sequel to one.
We're gonna look at the whole
should
like
make $1 billion.
Yeah, we're gonna watch. We're gonna look at the whole thing. Yeah, we're gonna look at. But this is a product of the strike, so we'll see what's gonna happen. I do want the last thing for Marvel I want to talk about, because I don't know if I have anything else here. I think that's everything for Marvel. Is that we did find out who Giancarlo Esposito's character is going to be, which is Sidewinder, which is the leader of the Serpent Society. Now in the comics, that character looks like straight up like they wear an outfit that looks with a big collar and like all these like snake stuff on it, whatever. I don't think we're gonna see that in Captain America, because it seems like it's more of like an espionage type movie, like more.
Which is
like
weird. This whole thing isn't that whole thing weird, because Servant Society were in the movie way more before, and then he was cast in the reshoots, but now he's the leader of it. But now they're in the movie less.
Yeah, 100%. And
somehow that makes sense.
But I like him as an actor, so I think he's going to do a really good job, personally.
I mean, they could just speak to his talent. He's carrying all of that on his shoulders, all of that work.
Yeah,
maybe he's the new Crossbones, Eric. Frank Grillo triggered.
But look,
dude,
here's the reality.
Crossbones is dad. That'd be hilarious.
The reality with that movie is, I'm assuming that it's been a really expensive movie. I don't see a world where that movie makes that money back. I feel like it's a complete wash for the movie, even if it does.
I think
like $8 million.
It must be a very important movie in regards to what they want to do going forward. So it's worth sinking it.
And we wonder why they're bringing back RDJ, because they need money and they really need to make some big hits, and they're bringing back the Russo brothers. I feel like all of this is so calculated for them in terms of
what's your thoughts on the bit? Like, because I understand the complaints around like, okay, RDJ doesn't necessarily like scream great choice for Doctor Doom, but it's clear he's gone after Secret Wars. Like, and I think that's the big thing. Do you think Secret Wars is going to be their crisis? Do you think
so?
Like, so that's the end of the multiverse saga, because literally the multiverse will end.
Did you read Secret Wars from 2015? Did anybody else read Secret Wars 2015?
Which one are they doing? Are they doing the old one or the new one?
No, I think they're doing the new one, because you said crisis, and I'm about to explain.
Well, I haven't read the new one. I've read the old one.
All right. So let me explain all of this to everybody, because I read it for a second time, and this time I read every single.
Wait, you can read?
Wait, you can read?
I use audiobooks. Okay, I use.
Okay. I thought you just looked at the pictures and just assume what was happening.
You could just read the Secret Wars from 2015. It's only like a small, like it's like 5 or 6 issues, I think, for like all the stuff. Or you can read all of the other stories that connect to it. And I went back and I've read everything connected to it, because I luckily have Marvel Unlimited, because I'm not going to go out and buy every single one of those comic books. But so I read it again. Secret Wars in 2015 is Doom World, which is where they bring all of these different multiversal worlds together on one planet. And every section is a different variation of the worlds that they existed in. So you have like a world where it's in, it's a desert with nothing but Incredible Hulk people. And then you have another world with all the spider people. And then you have a world where all the women superheroes are and stuff like that. Like, it's like this segregated world of like variants of other heroes.
Is there a world with all the woke ones, or is that?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the one where I am. I'm on that one.
Well, I'm assuming that's the one you're looking forward to the most. Can't wait for that one.
But what happened is this is how Marvel brought over popular characters from other universes. Was once that was over with, they just kept the people that they thought worked the best in the 616 continuity, and that's how they did that. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to introduce a lot of these characters in their own pocket worlds, and then use Secret Wars to bring them together, and then that will be the new Marvel continuity. That's what I think is going to happen.
And that allows them to either keep going with certain characters or recast if they need to recast, if they feel there's a need to.
One of the places that they could get the X-Men from is where Maria Rambeau is.
Yes.
Or Monica. With Maria. Yeah.
The X-Men world, basically. But yeah, so that's the whole thing, is that they're leading into this idea of God Doom, which is basically from that comic book series, and his side. So the way this happened is, and I'm sorry if you haven't read it, I'm just going to spoil this whole thing, is he created a world after the incursions basically left 2 Earths around, which is the Ultimates universe with like Ultimate Reed Richards, aka the Maker, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, all of those characters with the 616 continuity, and they were the last 2 that survived. And so what happened was Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange conspired together to create this world where they tried to save the multiverse in a new dimension that they created. So you have 2 of the most powerful sorcerers in the MCU working together to make this happen. And even Doctor Strange even says in a conversation in the series that it was interchangeable on which one of them would have been the gods of this universe. Like one of them would have chose to do it, and the other one would have been their supporting person. So that's why it ended up the way it did. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to do the same thing between Doomsday and Secret Wars, is they're going to have an incursion situation, which will probably be Doomsday, where we see all of these worlds getting destroyed. And that will be the end of the Doomsday movie. Doom wins. Incursion events happen. Doom survives. That is the end of that one, sort of like we got with Infinity War leading into Endgame. And then Secret Wars is the introduction of Doom World, which is where all of these characters exist. They have to come together in an uprising to stop Doom and recreate the 616.
And that's where they'll do the thing where it's pretty much nostalgia characters throughout. So it's not going to be maybe a mix, maybe some maybe a couple of MCU characters, maybe like your main ones. Like they might keep like Tom Holland, Spider-Man might be there, and they might pick a couple of other people, but you'll probably get
yes.
that's
Guess
where
what? You don't like one of the Marvel characters, they could be erased. Basically.
Well, but that's what I mean. Like, I think that first Doomsday movie is going to be mainly MCU characters, maybe with a couple of multiverse characters and stuff. But then Secret Wars will be like
we'll probably see like Tobey Maguire again. We'll probably see Andrew Garfield again.
Hugh Jackman,
Deadpool. All of them will be in that Doomsday movie where Doom is the main villain, destroying or using incursions to destroy the world. What I think is going to happen is because the incursion events in Secret Wars happen because of other things that were going on. Doom just sort of profiteered off of that. I think what's going to happen in the movie is Doom is going to be the one that actually wants it to happen. Like he's going to be the person setting it into like motion, basically.
One thing I found interesting is one comic book run was Deadpool being hired to wipe out the entire MCU.
Well, they thought that's what the Deadpool and Wolverine movie was going to be, which thank goodness it wasn't, because I'm glad it ended up being what it is. But
but the thing is everything you're describing, right? Is that has been the roadmap there for the longest time, except it was supposed to be Kang because that was the multiversal war that was set up. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I've been saying this for the longest time, like get rid of their cameo idea. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's all coming to a finish, but we were setting up something spectacular and they're swapping pieces just like up at the final hour. And we're supposed to just be okay with that.
Well, I think the issue is,
because it's Robert Downey's face.
I don't think everybody is okay with that. That's the thing.
Do you know? Do you see the obvious thing as well? Like, do you see the imagery that they're going for with the RDJ thing?
That Iron Man created the MCU, and now Doctor Doom,
and then him as a variant is going to destroy the MCU and move it into another. Well, not even phase, like
Paige's like let them cook. Paige's like let them
cook.
Well,
I'm fine letting them cook with it. I'm just concerned about RDJ being a villain and whether he can pull it off. And that's just mainly because she's so used to. And I saw someone say he was a villain in Oppenheimer, but Matt, it was a tame villain. Like he's not like, he's not like doing anything major. He's just
technically Tony Stark was a villain. He basically made Ultron.
Yeah. Well, let me see this.
If he says same goal, different mask, right? So it can't be destroying the universe / multiverse if that's the same
because
goal.
God Doom creates a Doom world. He creates a new planet with everything on it. So this is what I think it is. I think the goal is going to be that his character is going to want to create his own reality, and we will get that reality where everybody overlaps in one movie.
I'm telling you. This is when we're going to be getting Tom Cruise Iron Man, and I'm chucking my goddamn popcorn at the screen. I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, I don't know if they'll do that, but I definitely see, like, this is where, like, I'm sure this is why a lot of the X-Men people, spoil if you haven't seen it, but I guess wake up, a lot of the X-Men people didn't show up in Deadpool and Wolverine because they're going to be in Secret Wars. At least, like, that's why I expect, like, Halle Berry to be a Storm. Like, I feel like James McAvoy pretty much confirmed he's going to be in one of these movies. I saw an interview saying, "Oh, I've been approached for this one. I wasn't approached for that."
Might get Michael Fassbender Magneto as well, which I wouldn't mind that either.
Wouldn't be surprised. And like all of them, like in some way. Now, it's just whether they're like small roles where they're on screen for 5 minutes or they're main things. Like I think you're going to get.
Now both of these movies will be 3 hours.
Yeah, it has to be the end game of Endgame.
Secret Wars will be. I think Secret Wars will 100% be.
I think that Loki is going to be the monitor of this. Basically, what we last see him as the God of Stories, where he's holding the entire timelines. I think he's going to see something that relates to Doctor Doom, and he's going to basically go fetch heroes of all.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's what Loki set up. He was going to be that, but it was going to be for Kang. So he was going to pretty much going to be warning people about Kang. But now, as I said, he went.
I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed.
Why not just recast Kang?
I know. It's the simplest thing. Like, there's not one guy. There's not one guy. Not one. Not one.
I have a theory around it. Do you reckon that's what they wanted to do? Because let's be honest. As soon as the Jonathan Majors thing happened, before the court thing, they knew he was that they were going to move on from him. Like they knew there was all that stuff that was coming out. It was bad image regardless of whether he won or lost the court case. He was gone anyway. That was like a year before the court case even started. Yeah. And when did that end? Like 3 or 4 months ago. So it's been almost like a year, at least a year and a half since all that happened. I reckon they probably made a short list of people that they wanted to go to, and it wouldn't surprise me if they went to a couple of people and they just didn't want it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they went to one person specifically and they were like, and maybe they gave a good enough reason for them not to do it that it made them rethink recasting in general. But man, like I feel like recasting Kang would have been such an easier option.
Christian here says Captain Marvel just need better writing. Live action Brie Larson is okay. I've never had an issue with Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I don't know why. I know Paige has said that he doesn't really like her as Captain Marvel.
No. Right? She's miscast. She's 100% miscast. But the fact that she's such a good actress that she makes it work. Like I think she's a really good actress, Brie Larson, but she's miscast as Captain Marvel 100%. At least in regards to like the
version that we have, right?
Yeah, do you want to explain to Hero's Journey what "let him cook" means?
Have you ever heard? Okay. Oh no, I was gonna say it's like meth related, but
no, it's not. No, it's not. Hero's Journey. As much as you live on the internet, I can't believe you've never heard that before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
kidding me. You have. I'm sorry, you have to be kidding me. Like,
yeah, I think that might be trolling.
My whole.
You also didn't know what the rusty trombone was when you mentioned it the other day.
We're bricked up.
We're not going to get back into that.
My whole thing, trying to not lose it to that, is the fact that it's Robert Downey, right? If they wanted to swap pieces because they couldn't find the right Kang, or there is that clause in the contract, right? Don't like the fact that it's him. It just feels like such a slap in the face to everybody that's come in between now and Endgame. Everybody that's been there holding up the fort since he's left. It feels like you're just saying all of you just don't matter right now because we got him back and we love everything and this is great. Well, you know what I mean? It's just like, why him? Like, you could have been anybody else.
Okay, so I'm going to present a question that's probably going to annoy people, but I feel like it's worth pointing out. Who would we have wanted to see as Dr. Doom that fits the mold of like proper ethnicity and all of that? Like, who would they have picked?
That's the issue. I don't think there's any like.
I looked up Romani actors who are highly acclaimed, and there's no big names in that spot. And I think the issue is
there's no names. That's the issue.
Dr. Doom has to be a big name actor. That they had to do that. So I'm not forgiving them for it. I'm just asking logically, who would we have picked in that role?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like there's no way they could have picked someone who was actually of the correct heritage that people. So say, if you just want to be honest, cared about, you know, like there's just
right. But if it's a good enough actor, right? So like, I would argue that it doesn't have to be a big name, and that you could have like somebody with a smaller name like trickled in, like they might be planning to do, and then show his quality, right? So that gets the tongues wagging, it gets the people coming in for the bigger thing.
So everybody be like, okay, I see in the chat as well, right? Are we under the impression, and I'm not, this is not me calling anybody out. I'm not calling anybody out. Are we under the impression that Marvel was ever going to use a no-name person for Dr. Doom? Because that was never something that
They were always going to get someone of note, whether they were an acclaimed actor like of prestige, like from years and years gone by.
Like, look, Cam is saying it here. There was no chance they were going to cast an unknown actor for Dr. Doom. It just wasn't
100 to 1. 100 to 1 it was going to happen. If it happened, it would have had to be like a variant that's going to be in like 5 minutes and then get his head chopped off or something like that. Like it's going to be like, it was never going to be like the anchor, I guess you could say, of the movie.
Kayvan Novak? Is that? Let me see who that is.
Love it. Love that choice.
Oh, yeah. You know, he's good. He is good. I like him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that choice.
That's a good choice. He's from What They Do in the Shadows, right? Isn't that
mm-hmm. He's big over here. Big over here. Really big over here.
I guess the only one I've seen him in is Koala.
Is he Romani?
Oh, I don't know. I just was looking at this picture.
Because Romani's like really specific.
Oh, and
that's why
and Men in Black. International.
Jordan, look. Chris Pratt.
What's the knife in?
Star Lord is coming back.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
That would be hilarious if Star Lord actually says Star Lord.
That's actually a really good spot to sort of move on because that's
And Doom's like, who?
funny, so. All right, so let's go through some of the DC stuff. We're gonna watch the trailer for Creature Commandos. This might get removed from the stream as usual. I'm just giving a disclaimer. If it's not here when you come back, then that's just what it is. I haven't watched this trailer yet, so this is my first time seeing it. I've seen screen grabs of it, and I saw like a TikTok of like 30 seconds of it or something, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Of course, you are watching TikTok.
So, well, people share TikToks on YouTube Shorts. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
All right, so here's the trailer. Has everybody else seen this one yet?
No.
I think I watched most of it.
Oh, so nobody. Okay. All right. So we're gonna watch this and just give our thoughts on it. Let me see if I can pull it out of the box there. There we go. All right. Here we go. By the way, that's the new logo. What do we think of the new logo for DC here?
I give it 4 out of 5 stars.
You dick.
I'll tell you what, though.
He's been waiting to use that joke all day long. He's like, as soon as I get on stream, I'm saying that.
I must say, it's very safe. I think it's pretty boring because I also saw like James Gunn say like for most of our viewers, this would be like the most recognizable one. I'm like, really? I think the most recognizable one to like the majority of viewers that would be going to watch these movies interested would be the one from like the mid 2000s to the really early 2010s, the one that was in front of like the Dark Knight movies.
People
like
called
the-
it
it's like-
unoriginal too.
It's like a star going around and then the DC or something like that.
I mean, this is like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like the 80s comic book logo, though. I think that's what they're trying to do.
I know. Well, there's an obvious reason why I picked it. It's the longest one. It was the DC logo for like 30 years or something like that, from like the mid 70s or something till then the mid 2000s or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the one thing I'm more concerned about is, have you seen the animation thing that they use? It's like the Superman from the first issue, like breaking free from the chains. When I say
The one that has like it's like
hopefully it's not
classic,
always
like,
Superman.
1940s
I wouldn't mind it if it's like the first appearance of the character in each specific movie. So when you get Batman, it's like Batman from his first appearance, and then it flips over if you're going to do that. But I also love the other intro that was in with the DCEU.
Mm-hmm.
I love that one, like where it showed all the
like they're
characters
going with
and stuff.
something really simple with this one. So
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll wait and see. Like, obviously, have to wait until like this could just be like with the Marvel Studios one, where it's Marvel and the studio sort of comes out of Marvel. Like that's this thing, and then maybe there's an intro that
It
goes
was
with
from
it.
1977 to 2005.
Yeah, like 30 years.
Wow. Okay,
I think it's the longest one.
here we go. Let's do it.
Except it was black and white.
General
not blue and
Flag.
white.
This is Belle Reeve. For over 50 years, only those at the uppermost levels are aware of its existence.
I thought Congress put a stop to all Task Force X activities.
What do you think of this artwork so far? Just the little bit we've seen.
It's sort of
Like,
what I expected. I didn't expect it to be like ridiculously high quality, just because it's a TV show and they had to produce so much animation. Like, what? How many episodes? Is it 8? Did he say?
I don't
Is
know
it
if they
eight?
said or not.
Well,
If
8
Cody's
episodes
in,
with-
I'm sure Cody knows.
Yeah, I
so.
think was it 8 he said or something like that. And what's that like? Let's say like 30 minutes or something. That's decent.
I want to
amount
say
of,
it's better than the Tomorrowverse, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that's really that much of an accomplishment though. I did notice they changed Rick
It's a-
Flagg's design though. He was meant to have like it was mainly like salt and pepper. Now he's full on, salt.
Is it because of Frank Grillo?
I don't know. Maybe there's flashbacks. I don't know, maybe or something like
Yeah.
that. But I know like I noticed that they changed his hair. Oh, it's 8. I thought it was 8. I thought I heard the number 8 around this.
I will say it reminds me a little bit of like the Invincible artwork, which I'm okay with. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. Let's go on.
Congress said you can't use human prisoners. These assholes aren't human.
You smiling
Yes.
sarcastically?
Mm-hmm.
He's fishing!
is your new task force?
It's been oh so long since G.I. Robot has sent Nazis back to hell.
Let's call it Task Force M. M for Monster. Also known as...
Okay. Now this looks like it's still a it's still
Yeah,
connected to Max.
Well, yeah, because it's also only going to be like 30-minute episodes, you would assume at most.
Yeah.
So they're not going to put that on HBO.
All right. So what did we think of that? Like it? Didn't like it?
Yeah, looks good. It said Steve Agee's in it, which I'm really looking forward to. I love Diebed. Yeah. Well,
One thing that's interesting is what would they look like in real life, live action.
I don't think you're going to see too many of them go over to live action. I think you'll see, like, obviously Frank Grillo and a couple of others. But
King Shark was good in live action, and that looked very animated. So
wasn't the glowy guy? I don't know.
Batwoman ending.
Was
Dr.
it?
Phosphorus?
Yeah,
Dr.
wasn't
Phosphorus.
he in Batman Beyond?
I know it was the villain that was teased at the end of Batwoman season 3 before it got cancelled.
Yeah.
No, I meant like there was this guy that who was taking over Bruce Wayne's tower, and he got some chemicals splashed on him to where
but yeah, you mean a different version of it, like a
yeah.
It
It looked
I think
like that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that specifically. Oh, Lone Wolf says that's Blight, and Cam says that's Blight you're thinking of.
I don't know. I think this sort of looks like what I expected, just like it's there.
Are you happy this is the first introduction?
I'm happy it's going to be there and just out of the way, and then there's going to be like a 6-month gap to like I'll watch it. I don't think it's going to be bad. The only issue is that it clearly just looks like a comedy series, and I don't love James Gunn's comedy. I love his writing, like in regards to stories, but just everything in the trailer was just trying to look like it was like advertising a comedy show. I don't hate his comedy, but it's just like it can be a bit like it can be too much, if that makes sense. Like the joke keeps going. But that's why I'm hoping there's actually like a decent story in it. But I just don't know if it's going to be that deep, if that makes sense, just because of where it is. Like, I think it was after Superman. I'd expect more. But just because it's before, I'm like,
you are getting called out in comments. There's clearly more to it than just comedy. Serenity.
I would also say that I do not think it's the
do we want to do a
best way
rewatch
to
of
have
the
it.
trailer? Do we want to do a rewind, because the trailer was pretty much all just trying to be comedic.
Comic Nation Gaming says, "Well, I'll be honest. The making this the debut of the universe is a."
But I think,
choice.
I think that's the whole point. I
agree.
think it's overall going to be somewhat non-eventful. Like, doesn't mean like it's a throwaway, but it's like you don't have to watch it for Superman. You don't have to watch it for Peacemakers, or maybe for Peacemaker season 2. But then again, we don't know the context of everything. So
It just feels like it just feels like farting before an explosion. You know?
Yeah. So do you think this is a bad idea?
I just died because Krypton explodes.
Do you think this was a bad idea to make this the introduction?
No, as I said, it depends what's in it. If it's not eventful, which I feel like it's going to be, then it probably doesn't matter too much. I think it's the issue if you advertise it too much, like, this is the beginning of the DCU, and then people watching go, what the fuck? Nothing happens. Like, that's probably a concern. Yeah. But we've already talked about it. It's multiple niches. It's people, it's characters that no one's heard of. It's animated. It's a shorter show. And it's on HBO Max. So it's like the niche of the niche of the niche of the niche.
Yeah.
That's a trip, right? So that's basically like he's so scared of throwing a party and no one coming that he's thrown a party, like just started it off so secret that the party's already happening. And then if people miss it, it's like, oh, the cool people are already there. You know?
Right. Hey, Katie did. What's up? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, just a couple quick things. So we know that Superman, or My Adventure with Superman, is getting a season 3, and they're introducing Superboy. I don't know if you guys
and 4, I think,
saw that or not. Oh, they announced 4 as well. All right, that's cool. So we're gonna get a Superboy in that as well. Jack Quaid teases a second voicing role in the series. I don't know if they announced what that is.
Superboy.
Maybe. Maybe. Oh, you know what? You're right, Darth Bunyan. Maybe. So Superman and Lois, we found out that it's going to have a 2-hour season premiere, so we're getting 2 episodes on the first night.
Ooh, yay!
Yeah, that's really exciting. So, anybody worried about that? Some people were saying that makes it feel like the season is shorter because it's going to be shorter by an episode, basically.
I do understand that.
I think they're so you don't have. I think Superman's going to be dead for like 5 episodes, and it makes the 3 weeks shorter instead of 5 weeks.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's a big gamble. 5 episodes,
I don't know if you're math.
No, like you're going to see him,
we'll move on.
right?
You're going to see him, but
I had to say it. You didn't want to say it. I had to say it. I think 5 episodes is a bit much there.
I think he'll be dead for like 3, probably.
I think he might be dead
3
for
and then he
8. I
comes back
think
at the
8
end.
episodes. I think 8.
I know he comes back in episode 7 because you see Cangraff spoiling away with the.
Now there's shots fired.
Is this filming? Is Canadagraph's going to be able to get footage for this, or no? I mean, because I don't know.
Eric, it already finished filming months ago. Just thought I'd
did
just
it?
let you know, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, wasn't sure, wasn't certain. With his camera and stuff, I wasn't sure if it was possible.
Oh, by the way, fighting in the supermarket. Can we get a? What are your thoughts on that? Because I went to the supermarket on Friday. Someone dropped their guts and just bailed from the aisle. I walked down. I thought I was going to die. It was the worst smell I've ever smelled. Someone like dropped their guts.
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God.
if you're gonna do that, go to like the meat section because the meat sort of covers up the smell at the very least. Like,
Do you know what's funny is I've done that to somebody, right? And it was like that bit in Ted, right? Because I ran around the next aisle and I just heard somebody go, "Who did this to us?"
All right, so we're almost done with the DC. DC didn't have a ton of stuff. We before we watch this though, the Batman filming next year, so 2026 release of the Batman. Any thoughts on that? We still got a long time.
Weren't you going to look at the entire list of 2026?
I'm saying we'll look at that infographic at the end, but I was just trying to make sure we get all the DC news out of the way specifically. So
wasn't there a Joker 2 coming out too?
Yeah,
was there any news about that? I don't remember seeing anything about that.
No, you know what, that's mate. I think Kevin Feige might have gave himself away as well. The Marvel panel. Guess what? They just completely fucking ignored.
What?
Agatha all along.
I mean,
who cares? That's coming out in a couple of months. We won't even talk about
because I think that's a limited series, and I don't think they anticipate it to be very popular. So yeah.
Also, just quick on before you watch this, do you think because we think Secret Wars, or it just seems Secret Wars is going to be the end of the multiverse thing, and they're going to conglomerate down it to like one end or 2 Earths, whatever they're going to do? Do you think Blade is cooked now because it's just taken too long to come out?
I mean, they did announce that it was going to be R-rated, right?
The funny, remind me of Deadpool and Wolverine, where the cameo says, "I'm going to be Blade for like ever. I'm the one and only Blade."
Yeah, but I think that was yeah. But I don't know. I think
that was a hardcore diss right there.
I have to say, like Moon Knight and Blade were.
Fuck, I forgot about that show, Moon Knight. Jesus Christ.
I love Moon Knight, right? So like when it like the whole original like slate happened and like Blade was in there and stuff, like those were like the 2 things that I was like, okay, those look and sound interesting, you know.
No, I saw the new Joker trailer. We watched that a while back. Unless there was a different one at Comic-Con.
There's one like last week.
Oh, well, to be honest, I mean, from what I saw, I still feel the same way as I felt before. Like, unless there was something new introduced. I know they did say.
Can we get a refresh of those thoughts?
That I think the movie is. I don't understand why we're getting a sequel to it. I
watched the new trailer. I'm like, with the first one, I was like, okay, I can somewhat get behind it. I'll probably go watch it. And when I watched the second one, I'm like, why are they making this movie? And then I saw Todd Phillips say like, oh, he's not going to become like
that's it.
Like,
I was
like high ranking like crime boss in Gotham. I was like, well, what the fuck is the point of making Joker?
they said that, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't watch the first one because I would have been so pissed off.
I think so. I will say this: I have not watched that first movie except for the one time that I saw it because it just was like one of those where I don't see any reason to go back and watch it.
I only watched the dancing scene. That was the only thing that was interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's so we talk about niche things that is extremely niche in terms of like what comic fans want, but it seems like the general audiences like the first one.
Well, the first movie was a water cooler movie, and I'd assume that the attempt will be to try and make the second one a water cooler movie as well. I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion like the first one did, but I don't know. It's probably gonna make enough where it services itself. Though, remember that thing we were reading? It was ages ago. It might have been the after party where like the budget went up to like this ridiculous amount compared to the first one.
So Temple here says the same studio that made Invincible is making Creature Commandos. That's why the art style is similar. Oh, that's interesting.
He's talking about comic audiences, Serenity. So for general audiences, they can buy into it, but for like
I said niche for comic audiences. Like I said, I literally said the first one was popular, and that's why that's probably why they're making the second one.
Open your ears.
Yeah, the general audiences loved it, and that's why they're making another one. But I don't see a point in making. I don't see personally, creatively, a point in making a second movie. We'll see. Look, I could be wrong. It could be a massive hit, but it seems to me like this is going to be
nothing's coming out around that time. I think there's like nothing, so that's probably its advantage.
We'll see. Yeah, I saw the picture of the Invincible suit. It's the blue version from comics, which I thought was really cool. All right, so let's watch this. Let's watch this teaser. So this is the first couple of minutes from Superman and Lois, and I want everybody's thoughts on this. And chat, I want you to chime in as well. So here we go.
I know that I can.
Why does the audio sound so weird? Does audio sound weird to you guys?
Yeah, it sounds like you're funneling it through like a funnel.
Why is that?
I'm joking. Keep playing it, Eric. What are you doing?
No, does it sound okay to everybody?
There's only one man I opened my heart up to, Serenity. His name is Warstu. I think that's just the weird noises. It's like supersonic booms. I told you they went to Mars, Eric. You denied me. We're not going to go to Mars. Wait, is that Mars? No.
It's the dark side of the moon.
Live footage of Eric at the McDonald's.
What was that? What did you say?
Live footage of you at McDonald's when they get your order wrong.
Oh, speaking of that, hold on.
Did you
hold on? I wasn't going to bring this up, but you just said it, and that made me think about it. I ordered Wendy's, right? By the way, is Wendy's open in Australia yet, or no? Is it
it's in New Zealand, but they don't bring it. I don't think they'd be able to compete over here.
I ordered Wendy's today, and
I had, by the way, I'll interject. I had Wendy's when I was over there. It was fucking shit. But anyway, keep going.
Wendy's is good here.
No, I had it over there.
So no, it's good here in my state. I don't mean generally in the whole entire country.
Sorry.
So I ordered my food. I wanted to get something before we stream because I was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat something. They forgot my entire sandwich. They sent the bag. I got my drink. I got my side, my order of fries. No sandwich in the bag.
What sandwich did
he ate it? The Uber Eater ate it.
Yeah, maybe the driver took it. Maybe the driver was like,
he ate it on the way. I promise you.
Maybe, but I got my money back. Like I went on and got my money back, but still, I was annoyed because I'm like, I don't have time to order another one. Just whatever their normal, like the Dave's combo burger. It's like lettuce, tomato.
Who the fuck is Dave?
Dave was the creator of Wendy's. He's the owner of Wendy's. So.
Why is the thing not called Dave's?
Dave's combo. I guess it's his favorite burger. It's like a burger with cheese and lettuce, tomato, pickle, all that stuff.
When was the last time you went to Fuddruckers?
Named after David Carradine.
Too long ago, because that's my favorite burger place. Pagey stole it. They're claiming Pagey took it, so that's possible.
Just
I wouldn't put it past you. We'll put it past you.
All
All
right,
right, let's
just tell the guy, "Can you eat my burger, by the way? I don't want it."
yeah. Here we go. Oh, that looks really cool.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
I'm alive.
Are we ready
like-
to ruin it? Oh, go ahead, Paigey.
I actually like he's turning into comic book doomsday throughout this scene. Like he's actually growing the white sort of rocks on his eyebrows and facial features and stuff like that. He's becoming more.
The cape was ripped off.
Yeah, the cape, that was one of the promo images, was the ripped cape. So
which, I sort of say this is like the entire fight scene, but I think
it
indicates it probably there's like at least a minute or so before, which makes it's going to be long as hell because obviously no one dies in this clip, so obviously there must be a bit after it as well. So the opening like 10 minutes of this thing, if this is the opening, should be pretty
because this could actually be like later on, like when they're talking about what happened to him, we might see this as like a scene in like
or they find the cape or something, and then we go to this or something like that.
Somebody pointed out, why is he out of breath in space?
He's been fighting for like how many months? 2 years, right?
No, that's not the joke. 3Dub. There's no air in space. They were saying he's out of breath in space. Like, that's
okay.
Like right here, so, like I saw this clip where he's like breathing heavy, and people are like, "Why is he out of space?" All right.
It looks so weird without the cape.
Yeah, it does.
I like that scene because it reminds me of Smallville when they did that slow motion.
So there's a comment here. So this one's funny. The issue though is that you can't actually breathe in space. Like you could hold your breath in space, but you can't actually breathe in space. Look, I'm not arguing in defense of it. I think it's a dumb argument to even complain about, but like literally there's nothing to breathe in space. It's a vacuum. Like there's nothing there. So I'm not defending people complaining about it. I want to make that very clear. I think it's a dumb argument, but yeah. Paused on Doomsday's cheeks. Well, I every once in a while I get it right. Every once in a while. That was a powerful scene right there with him getting pushed into that meteorite. That debris.
This was me waking up in the morning and seeing your Twitter DM going, "Why did you start so fucking early?"
He's so beaten up right now. It looks like he's been fighting
Now.
for 2 years straight.
Now this is Eric when he enters the door and can get his burger.
Yeah, that was me actually. I was that angry about it. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the teaser we got there. I mean, if that doesn't get you excited for the season, what does? That was incredible, in my opinion.
That was insane. It looked amazing.
It was
it's really
better
funny
than
that
Batman v Superman. Let's be honest.
it's funny that's where over half of the reduced budget's gone in that 3 minutes.
So Dino here says this show is top tier. CW gave us a better Doomsday fight than the DCEU. Agree or disagree?
Exactly. I agree.
Because people love to shit on the CW, but then you get stuff like that, and it's like, it's pretty fucking solid, right? So yeah, no issues with that there. Let's see. We have, I think I have a bookmarked here. Where's that? Okay, yeah. So let me share this over here. And here it is. So this is the movie slate. Let me expand it so we can see it better here. All right. This is the movie slate for 2026. We have Avengers Doomsday, Batman 2, the next Dune movie, Shrek 5, the next Jordan Peele fan, Supergirl, Mandalorian and Grogu, another Star Wars untitled film, the next Hunger Games, Super Mario Brothers 2, The Last Airbender, the next Lord of the Rings movie, Frozen 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Transformers versus G.I. Joe or Transformers and G.I. Joe, Toy Story 5, the next Exorcist, Street Fighter, a Spielberg UFO movie, and Hail Mary. All of that's in 2026.
Basically, I'm seeing everything except for 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let me see if I can make this bigger here. Might have to open it up in another screen. There we go.
I'm surprised that they're doing a Mandalorian and Grogu and an untitled film.
That's what we talked about. We like 3Dub and I talked about it before you got on. That there's a overlap of movies and there's an odd combination of movies. Like Avengers Doomsday and Mandalorian and Grogu come out in the same month.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Mandalorian will be May 4th, and I think the Avengers movie will be like 3 weeks.
And also,
later.
there'll be another probably another DCU movie. Like I'd highly that would just be Supergirl.
Right.
Like,
So this isn't even all of them. This is just the confirmed stuff.
Yeah.
So this Aang and the Last Airbender, is that the animated or are they doing another live action?
Animated.
That's the animated one. That's the animated one. Right, cool.
Yeah, June
Okay.
Messiah is 2026, Maddie. Yeah.
I honestly had no interest in the Doom franchise. Sat there and watched the first one because you guys were talking about the second one. Absolutely loving it now. Still kind of confused as to what's going on.
Makes more sense.
Wait. What did you say? You're watching what?
Dune, loving Dune.
Oh, yeah.
Confused as hell though, but it's good.
That's a lot of good movies for 2026. Remember what happened in 2022 with movies? 2023
I
and
also
movies?
think the Star Wars Untitled film will be a December movie like normal.
I also think that won't be coming out. It'll just be Mandalorian.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do.
I'm sorry, if you're untitled at this point, you're probably not coming out.
It's a Hail
think-
Mary right now.
If they're going to do the Dawn of the Jedi or the last or the Knights of the Old Republic movie, they're going to be like separating that from like they're definitely going to put that in its own thing. They're not going to have that too close to anything else. Maybe a show, but a movie, no.
Yeah. I will say this, that I believe, in all honesty, some of these movies will move out of 2026. The ones that they can move will move out of 2026.
Okay, as well, right? So we're talking about like the fact that Star Wars is untitled. Jordan Peele's movie, is that called next film or is it just his next film that's out?
I don't know. It's a good question. That's what was listed for release. So
that's not a dumb question for his movies called
no, it's not, because it could be next film. That would be hilarious if that was like, what if Star Wars was like Star Wars untitled film and that was the actual movie? That would be fucking hilarious. That would be hilarious to me.
Yeah, I'd be so angry. Who's doing Hail Mary? I can't see what's the little bit above that.
It just says Project Hail Mary. I don't know
Project
what that
Hail
is.
Mary. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't even tell you what it is, and I'm
gonna look it up. Hold on.
It's
Street
Untitled
Fighter?
fourth. It's Untitled fourth film directed by Jordan Peele.
So Project Hail Mary is a science fiction novel. So it's based on a school teacher turned astronaut who wakes up in a coma and affected with amnesia. All right. Well.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. I'm excited for Street Fighter, right? The fact that they've chosen that artwork as well. Like, come on.
How can you be a producer?
You agree with
writer,
this,
and a
Darth
director?
Bunyan?
It's a dead franchise. Not at all.
It's dead
Not
in
even
regards to
close.
where they want to go. They need it, and that's why I wouldn't be surprised if that
No,
untitled
okay.
film doesn't keep going, because at least with Mandalorian, we know it's like a
Dude.
bookend. It's like a bookend. to that
Okay,
show.
pull up the Star Wars slate. Pull up the Star Wars slate then, right? Because this shows that they're not dead in the water, right? They have a direction that they're going, and like because there's such a toxic fan base that just cannot let things go, i.e., the Skywalker saga. They have to keep dipping their little toes and make people happy, right? But they are venturing away from the Skywalker saga and the things it entails. Like the Acolyte was a small step in that direction, and the movies that are being slated, as much as I don't like slates, has been shown with Avengers, is going to be shown that.
So here's what we have that I found. Moving on beyond this year. So Andor season 2, Ahsoka season 2 in development, Mandalorian Grogu movie, Star Wars movie in development from Taika Waititi, Dawn of the Jedi movie, Mando vs. New Republic movie, the New Jedi Order movie, Rogue Squadron movie, Mandalorian season 4, Book of Boba Fett season 2. But
Yeah, fuck that. We're not getting that.
Lando
one.
movie unknown. Some of these are unknown. Rangers of the New Republic presumed canceled. Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy presumed canceled. Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie canceled. So these are the ones here that are presumed still in production. So
Not dead in the water.
seems like there's a lot of stuff going on. But
Dead in the water, but fuck, it's been shot in the leg and it's sharks.
No,
are sick.
people just it's people are angry about Disney Star Wars. They don't like Disney Star Wars.
well, I mean, to be fair, that's the only thing there is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that. Like,
Well, there's
Like
porn
how
Star Wars.
that's like saying I'm mad because McDonald's fries. You know what I mean? Like they own it. Like what are we talking about here?
By the way,
Yeah.
about just over a week ago, how good is it when you go to McDonald's and you
Here we
get
go.
literally hot as shit fries like that? Like they've just started.
Well, I mean,
making
that's
fries.
the only way to eat their fries. Like any
No,
sort
but
of
I think I got the
any
perfect,
sort of delay in fry consumption takes
I
away
think
from
I got
the overall
the perfect batch
intensity
of
and
McDonald's
power of fries. So
I think I got the perfect batch. It was like batch. Sorry, it was like incredibly hot. Almost tasted like the hash browns. It has like a bit of a hash brown flavor to it, and it was like crispy but not burnt. So there was like there was a crunch when you bit into it. Oh, it was
oh my
top
god.
tier. I should take a photo.
Yeah, let's not talk about food. Let's not do that.
Oh, yeah. God bless you.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't have any super chat requests for topics, so we're just gonna sort of wrap things up unless anybody, it's 5-minute warning. If anybody wants to talk about something we haven't talked about, drop a donation and we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap things up because that's all I had on my docket for the stream. I am curious to see how Deadpool is going to do next weekend. Any predictions on the upcoming weekend for Deadpool? You think it's going to double its budget this week or not?
Yeah, I don't think we're the only ones that are going to be going back. I think there's going to be a lot of repeat viewings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
Can
just
we-
word of mouth as well. It's just, oh,
You gonna-
it's so
You gonna
good.
do it, Eric?
Do what?
You said you were gonna do the bye dance next stream.
No, I did not say that. I did not.
Pretty
say
sure
that.
you did.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going by Kane.
Oh,
Well, no, he's already gone.
3 dumb jokes today. All the dad jokes under the sun. there.
I thought about like way before the stream, so it's a recycled one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I will mention this only for a second. Awful fucking idea. I do not have any interest in that spinoff series about Soldier Boy and Stormfront. I just
Oh no.
there's a possible spinoff show for the two of them. I think okay, I'm gonna put this out there. I'm exhausted with awful characters. I'm exhausted with it. I need this break between now and the next season of The Boys to prepare for it. But I'm tired of watching scumbag characters.
I'm tired of the.
I'm surprised we're just not seeing the irony in The Boys just getting more and more spin-offs.
Yeah, I was about to say, right? Like if they're going that level, instead of like with their OG show and then getting The Boys Mexico, he's absolutely right. They're becoming what they were mocking this whole time. They've just crossed over. What are they doing?
They already have. To me, The Boys Mexico reeks of like.
I don't mind Gen V. Gen V is good for me because it's a different. It's not like anything else, right?
I haven't watched
The
it.
Boys
but
stuff.
From everything I've heard, it facilitates the boys' show. It helps develop.
Well, let me
that
tell you why
universe
it's good. It's
specifically, and that's the story
everything
they
you
wanna
would want
tell.
from like it's everything you'd want from like a new mutant show from Marvel, but it's done in the world of the boys, and I think it's fine. I like the characters. I think it's a very interesting story. I enjoyed the past season of Gen V more than I enjoyed this season of the boys, to be completely honest.
Wow, fair. I will say, yeah, like Paige, you're right. It does facilitate it very well, but it also stands alone, like on its quite well as well. So, like, don't let that dissuade you from watching.
That's what I mean. It warrants its existence, but no one was asking for this. I saw it. Was it Rising?
Vault Rising. I just don't look. It's probably gonna be really good. It's probably because I do like Soldier Boy, right?
But it sounds like they've chosen two characters who are just there to be offensive. Like you got a Nazi and Soldier Boy who's stuck in the 60s and is like,
I don't want to watch a show about white supremacist superheroes. I just don't. Like I just don't. I have no interest in that. And I know they'll probably
showing each colors.
They will probably do a good job of like doing the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like I think it'll be fine. I personally emotionally just cannot anymore. We've got this hopeful DC universe coming around with Superman and these takes on these characters, which I'm sure we will get like evil characters or whatever. I just have no interest in watching another show with a Homelander character that is awful over and over and over again and nobody defeats them. I just have no interest in that.
Yeah, right. But this is like, okay, so this is like the thing as well. Like you raised such a good thing because Soldier Boy and Stormfront are going to have to keep winning. They're going to have to be as bad as they are. They're going to have to keep winning or be right.
And we know their story already. We know how Soldier Boy gets where he is, and we know how Stormfront gets where she is. Like there's like I don't care. This is why that Agent Carter show for Marvel didn't work out, right? Because all of the lead characters in that show, we knew where they end up eventually. Yeah, so there's no tension with those characters because we already know their story.
And Agent Carter dies like while the show was going on.
So where's the tension? Where's the tension in the show? Like that's what I'm saying. It's just going to be a show about like bigoted supremacist superheroes. I don't want to watch that.
Also, it's something that I feel like it's a worldview that the MCU is like dangerous into falling into nihilism, right? Because like so much big stuff keeps happening that keeps just swamping the planet. The week after, that's it. It hasn't been discussed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just dead in the water and it's gone. It's just that's the reality now. You know, and like that can't be the case because then what are the stakes? It's going to get to the point where it's like, oh, is it Thursday? Right. So there's going to be like a super being or an alien ship here on, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's just going to be people are just not even running down the street in a few years, but in fear anymore when something happens.
This is what it's going to be. What shitty thing are these two characters going to do this week? That's what it's going to be because it can't be anything major, like you said, because we know all of this. The history's out there. Like as far as we know, these characters were almost buried by Vought, which means that there can't be but so much that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just can't be. And Dude, look at the Supernatural universe. They tried to really do that one. And then Walking Dead. How many fucking spinoffs of Walking Dead are there now? It's like 7 of them.
I can't believe they gave Negan his own character.
I like this term milk to death because there's a character called Mother's Milk.
Oh my god. Dino says I enjoyed Agent Carter even though I knew she was going to die. I still like the characters and the story progression. Look, I don't disagree with you. I think Agent Carter was a good show. The only problem with Agent Carter was they didn't have enough characters that we didn't know. They threw in characters that we all knew about, and every week when she's hanging off of a ledge or something, I'm like, she's gonna survive. Like she's not going to die in this episode. She's not gonna get hurt. And yes, they're lead characters. It's not gonna happen anyway. But we know that she doesn't have any major traumatic event that happens.
But isn't it also just the fact that like with this universe of the boys and stuff, there's also like the predetermined past where nothing like ridiculously massive happened.
Yes.
So you can't do too much there unless it's going to be a cover up. And what, you're just going to cover up everything that happens?
Unless they release a promo that really pulls me in. As of right now,
well, to be honest, Eric, you're going to watch it.
No, I won't. I really won't.
Wow.
Just like with Legends of Tomorrow, when I got bored with it, I got bored with it. I stopped watching Supernatural after season 10. Like when I get bored with something, I'm done with it. I feel like we have a lot of hopeful things coming out, especially with the DCU. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the more
Well,
like
I think it's very
fun
smart
stuff.
I think it's very smart The Boys is finishing with season 5 because I think the time and place for the show is probably about to leave.
Yeah.
It's about to leave because also even like you can do the whole Marvel thing, but Marvel's moving into a new era and stuff. The Boys worked as a show because of the current state of where both of those major franchises were, where Marvel had taken its transition and was struggling, and then The Boys sort of was making fun of some of the stuff there, and also because DC was just like floundering back and forth and not too sure which way they wanted to go. But I think The Boys, the main franchise, has found its time and place. From what I can tell online, Gen V is like probably only got like they'll probably only do one more season maybe of that show. Just
I'd be okay with that.
New characters.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
But it's with these other ones, like The Boys Mexico. I don't think that's probably even going to happen. I think they might just not even move forward with that one. And then with this Vought Rising one, maybe it's a one and done like mini series or something.
See, I would rather. Sorry, I just said I would rather the Mexico spinoff because we've been given an interesting world, especially with everybody being misled from like how the powers originated in the first place to just seeing how insidious the company is, right? So depending on how The Boys finishes and if Vought does just get dismantled and blown up and stuff, then it's a case of, right, now we're like kind of in a blanket state where we've had people joining Starlight and we had good characters and we have people on the bad side. And now it's kind of like a level playing field. And to just see a fresh perspective separate from everything else that's happened in that universe, I think will be quite fun.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I don't have a lot of time left, but I got a couple things I want to touch on. First and foremost, this is why I'm not watching House of Dragon regularly, because I don't like shows where everybody.
I'll tell you what.
So
that season is struggling. This one's been very, I want to say, boring this season. There's been some interesting. It's been like 2 episodes, and wow, they really nailed it here. Apparently, today's episode is meant to be the best of the season, so hopefully it fucking does it.
I was bored with it. I watched
Damon
like 2 episodes and I tuned out.
The fact that Damon's been tripping balls the entire season and talking like eating out his mum, like it's weird. It's like
what?
Oh, spoiler, I guess. But, like the fact that that's been happening, like and tripping balls and stuff. I'm like, what are they even doing with this character? Because I don't know what to do with him.
And if it's doing good, it's doing good. That's fine. I don't judge my interest on whether or not something is successful. So it is what it is. But I just don't have any interest in that. And yeah, exactly. Speaking of low watermark, spoiler. Yeah.
Thank you for the memories.
It's not it's been spoiled. That's what's happening. I'm just still tripping that out. Like
Eric, how soon after the stream will it be demonetized?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll catch that one or not. I want to give a shout out to Low Watermark who gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Low Watermark. I do appreciate you being here and supporting the stream. And everybody that got 5 memberships from him, feel free to give him a shout out in the chat. Really appreciate it. And thank you again, Low Watermark.
Did you
amazing.
See,
oh, look who joined in the last second, Darren. Literally the last second.
I was like 2 hours. I guess I'll hop in for like a second.
What were you saying, Paige? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, I saw there was like a
anyway. So we're gonna continue on.
You cockhead!
Right there.
It ties into the memberships thing, and I thought there was a guy the other day, and he was watching he was a hater. He was hating this other guy's stream. Someone donated memberships, and he got given a membership, so he got exposed for watching the stream.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I have to take a second. My groceries are here, so I'm gonna jump off the camera. But you guys discuss the topics, and Darren, you can chime in on anything that you missed while I'm gone. I will be right back. So let me. Hold on.
How do you feel about the Robert Downey coming back then?
Okay. If you
Oh
want to
boy!
say anything
I mean, what's been the narrative so far? Because I don't want to be like
mixed bag, right? Mixed bag. Paigey came in and basically said everything that like all of us had said as a group, like in one, which was really hilarious. But yeah, very mixed bag. Like, how do you feel?
And I don't care.
I don't know if I've ever been like so conflicted on a thing in a while. Like it's like there's so many negatives to this while also being like so many potential positives that are at play. Like storyline possibilities are endless with this. Like there's especially when it comes to like certain characters and certain thoughts. Like I do think you could tell some really cool stories with this. But I've also been someone who have said in these last couple of years, like I don't necessarily want him back, or at least don't want him back so soon. Like this is something I kind of wanted them to put off for a little while. But also it's a thing where like this is the multiverse saga, so if you don't do it now, you might not get the chance to do that kind of thing. But I don't know. Like I ultimately think where my kind of thing is coming from is the Doom side of it. Like if they had just announced, hey, it's an evil Iron Man, he'll be in the next Avengers movie, I'd be like, all right, whatever. All right, that could be really cool. But I do think it's that he's a Doctor Doom that is really throwing me for a loop, because I do know so many people that want just like your classic Doom. Like there's never been like, I don't know, a good live action Doctor Doom, I'd say.
Are you
I
serious?
literally said that.
No.
Is there a good one?
Fan Forstick was amazing.
Oh, okay.
I always love it when they overcomplicate Doctor Doom's origin. They just try to make it as overcomplicated as they possibly can. The original ones, let's make it overcomplicated. This one, it's Fan Forstick upped it.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, though. I am sort of confused because people keep going, oh, it's in the comics. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a Victor Von Doom that becomes Iron Man. It's not a Tony Stark that becomes Doctor Doom. So unless that's the flip, it's like, oh well, we're doing that, but like doing the mirror image of it.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like. I thought like that would be
overall.
cool.
I think it's fucking stupid. Like I think it's like on the surface level, it just seems like
it's desperate. Yeah,
Feige was a couple of bottles deep of something, but maybe the Russos, because I'm assuming the Russos probably played a part in figuring out what they wanted to do and coming up with that idea. But the thing is that the general audience will like it. I mean, if you look on his Instagram replies and stuff, just Dick and Bob that walk down the street that casually go to a Marvel movie every now and then and watch the big ones, they're stoked for it because they get Robert Downey Jr. back, regardless of whether he's playing Iron Man or this other character. And they go, oh, Dr. Doom, I watched him in the animated show and the other movies and stuff. That's cool. So...
Okay, I have a question. I
don't know if desperate is like the. I think they were desperate around the Kang situation and trying to figure out a road from there.
Right.
But I still think they. I don't think it's lazy. I think they went the most difficult option possible. It's like instead of crossing the road, they decided to, I don't know, get a pogo stick or something and then go around the block.
Do you think, right, since they were desperate or whatever, right? Do you think if they recast and didn't like recast for Kang, right, and like didn't worry about the Robert Downey thing, and brought in the Russo brothers to say that they're doing Kang Dynasty in Secret Wars, do you think that would have been enough of a draw, given their track record, that they wouldn't have needed Robert Downey?
Depending on who you cast as Kang, and I don't think they'll be able to get someone that they thought was, because the thing is. Sure, Jonathan Majors wasn't big when they cast him as Kang, but they obviously they're pretty smart in regards to trying to pick someone with trajectory, in regards to where they think they can go, or at least someone that can handle the mantle around that or the attention that'll be going with that. And they probably just weren't able to find a suitable option for the recast, whoever it might have been, whoever they went to. Like, I don't know who they went to. Maybe they'll come out eventually that they went to this.
How there's not one guy. Do you know what I mean? Out of everybody that's there, like the whole of Hollywood, there's not one person that can play Kang.
It's also probably a hard role to jump into after all the controversy.
And
like there's probably not like a line outside of like, well, oh, like this controversial figure, I'm gonna jump into that role. And
it's probably like another situation with the T'Challa one, where like I think a lot of people think they should probably just recast T'Challa, but it was also like the timing around it. But also, did someone want to take on that role? Because not only are you just taking on a role from someone that passed away or someone that's
that's honoring a legacy,
but by someone that did a good job with it. Like that's the biggest issue, because now you have an expectation or a level that you're meant to
Sure.
do it. It's like when Tom Brady retired, whoever replaced him, you're going to get compared to Tom Brady. It's like, fuck, you're shit compared to him. We got much better last year.
Yeah.
Wait, what about
Even in the comics, he's Korean and Chinese. The real Kang from the comics.
Well, yeah, because Reed Richards is
So if they could have they had more than one.
Well, I think if they were going to recast, they probably would have chosen another black actor.
Yeah, because
avoid even more controversy.
Yeah.
It would have been bad.
There's other actors that have stepped into like controversial roles. You know, like Christopher Plummer came in with that. I think Kevin Spacey stuff, right?
I think that's different. Like, I don't know if there's really even a comparable one. Like, the only one I can think of is if like someone got recast as Jack Sparrow or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of that would be comparable.
The MCU is always like when you compare it to something else, it's like, yes, but times 10, because it's such a massive franchise. Like, things can happen to other franchises, and that's okay, but everybody's watching the MCU's every single move, so it's like, all right, let's see what they're working on. And like, I imagine, and this is actually, I'm kind of in the same boat, like, I think they just wanted to wipe their hands of it. They're like, there's been so much whatever with it. Let's just move on. Let's just do something else.
And also, I think they let the internet do their talking. They didn't really even have to say much. They released a statement saying, "Yeah, Jonathan Majors."
Do you think they will eventually rope back around to bringing Kang in later, or do you think they're just not?
Yep, with Tropical Thunder RDJ.
Oh no.
I don't
So
know.
this is another thing, though, right? It's like he brings up another point, right? So what happens when they're on like phase 8 or 9 or 10, and things are starting to take a little bit of a dip again, and people have got some criticisms? What, they're just going to bring him back again? Like, how many times is this going to happen?
Robert Downey Jr.
or Chris Evans? Like, how? At what point do they say, okay, well,
or Chris Hemsworth, one of those three? Like, that's the three.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Honestly, it's like
what if they just did a full circle moment for the lols, and Jonathan Majors comes back in like 20 years?
Do you think there's a world where that could happen?
He's Iron Man this time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
You know, one of the reasons I think that they maybe did this now, because I think that like him coming back, I think was always in the cards. But what I think they are lacking right now is time. Like with Kang, they were trying to set him up in other projects to make us love him. With this, they don't really need to do that because we already do. Like, we already like Iron Man, the Tony Stark. Like, we love that face, so they can just throw him in one movie and be like, "Yeah, he's great. He's a great."
I don't know if you guys talked about while I was gone or not, but one of the things also, Darren, was that there was no reality where they didn't cast a big name actor as Doctor Doom. I felt like that was a no brainer, and that was one of the things is that even if it wasn't RDJ, it was going to be someone like extremely popular playing Doctor Doom. No matter.
I would have been fine better with that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's because of who he is to the franchise that is one of my main issues.
Yeah. And also, I think it's a disservice to Doctor Doom, because when that movie comes out, no one's going to be talking about, oh, it's cool, we got Doctor Doom. Everyone's going to be like, no, it's Iron Man's back. Like,
what the biggest issue is, though, we were just talking about it before, the general audience of Tom, Dick, and Harry are going to get attached to Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Post-Secret Wars, Fantastic Four's doing its thing. They want to do Doctor Doom again. Who the fuck is this? Like, we don't want him.
Let me set up a scenario for you that I think would have been more impactful. They never would have done this, but it would have been a really bold move. Well, maybe not. Maybe they would have done this, but I'm saying let me just alternate world. We're on another Earth completely where this news didn't come out, right?
To Airrick,
Can you imagine how exciting it would be for them to not give us any casting for Doctor Doom, right? So, like, we don't know who the actor is. We know that the character is being played. We see him in the mask. We hear a weird voice modulation where we don't know who the actor is throughout, like, the rest of the leading up to the movie coming out, right? And then we get into Doomsday, and it's finally revealed in a scene, like the mask gets knocked off or something happens, that it is Robert Downey Jr. Under that mask. Would that have been more impactful? Would people would have responded to it differently, or what?
Eric.
Yeah.
And we all want Santa Claus to exist. It's not going to happen. Like, that would never work.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And the optics of that did make me second guess it. But I feel like my integrity would have to hold, and I'm still like, no.
Look, I'm not.
I'd
I'm
love
not.
it if every time I
listen,
snap my fingers, $1 million went into the old bank account. But Eric, it's just not going to happen.
I'm not.
We're talking about
I'm not saying
ridiculous
that's what I
drag.
wish they would have done. I literally started this off by saying they never would have done
You
this.
said
That was
in my
that's the first
silly
thing I said.
hypothetical world of non-realities.
Why are you being so weird? Like, I'm literally asking you what the reaction would have been if that would have been the scenario. Say, for example, they would have waited until the movie came out and the mask came off and it was Robert Downey Jr. Would the reaction to this be different for everybody versus now? And
maybe because they wouldn't be leaning so heavy on the name of him. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, it would depend on the take of the character, because people are now going to go into this movie expecting how Dr. Doom is going to be
you
presented.
that I would be going, oh shit, in the theater when that happened. If I had no idea who the actor was.
Think about it. We're at the end of Doomsday. It's leading into the next film, Secret War, right? We have no idea who the fuck this actor is.
Yeah.
Right after the destruction of the multiverse happens, and we see the creation of Doom World, the mask comes off. And it's Tony Stark. Or it's
That's exactly how they did it in Deadpool and Wolverine with that character that was with them in the Void.
No, exactly. And see, that's what I'm saying. Without saying that character's name, having someone at that level be hidden and then revealed in the movie felt more artistic. It felt more intentional than this, because this makes it feel like a cash grab.
It does. And it's also, you're giving them an actual product to judge and not just this hypothetical that we'll see in 2 years.
That's my only thing.
Okay, well, you've given the example of Robert Downey Jr. What if it was Pauly Shore?
It could be anybody. I feel like the coolest thing would have been not to tell us who Dr. Doom is.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the coolest thing, because then they could advertise Dr. Doom's, like, the iconography, like the mask and the hood, and show him and stuff without telling us who it is, and then we just get revealed who it is in the film. I think that would have been more
right.
They could have
you're right. Yeah, because sorry, just quickly, that genuinely feels like the old guard meeting the new, rather than they brought the old guard in to save the new, because that's what it feels like. That's a really different take. Yeah,
they could like not revealed it, but have RDJ like in the where all the doomsday with all the dooms on stage, but not reveal them, and be like, there's going to be a doom. One of these is the person, and you'll find out in the movie.
I think it would have been incredibly cool spending the next couple years trying to figure out who the actor is that's playing Dr. Doom when we see him pop up and stuff, and not knowing who it is. I think that would have been a very cool way, something different, something unique, something fun for them to do, because then it would be less like right now that we know, we're going to spend the next 2 years dissecting and debating the validity of RDJ as Dr. Doom and whether or not he can do it, just like we're doing in this stream. You know what I mean?
How they can.
Yeah, I'd say because the who's behind the mask mystery was one of the best things in the Flash. Like all of the time that we were in you guys' videos in the chat, like, who could it be? I think it's this person. I think it's this person. That was so much fun and just brought everybody together. You know what I mean? And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool.
I also think there's an element, and like you guys maybe have talked about this previously, but like there's a little bit of like a slap in the face for the people who've been watching up until this point leading to the Avengers, because
that's
like
exactly what we said.
you're like, okay, we are now establishing our world without Iron Man, without Cap, without Black Widow. You're building it. People are there, and at the finish line, once we're actually about to get this Avengers movie, he's back, y'all. He's here. He's here.
No,
and it's just like,
I absolutely said that. Yeah. I said that was the thing. Look, the issue is that this is something that corporations do quite often when it comes to franchises. They allow the fans to stand on the front line and defend something that they're doing because it feels right. You know what I mean? Like they're making the right decisions. And the minute it's no longer profitable for them and they want to move in a different direction, they do so completely undermining all of the support that the fans gave them over the years. And this happened with
it's just like
what?
Grabs you by the collar and back. And just like, a bit of a
I want to say the same thing about David Zaslav. Let me and I don't want to go off on a tangent about him, but when he talked about when they got that leaked news about how we looked at the difference between Discovery and Warner Brothers and how they were different.
What the Venn
One of the-
diagrams.
Yeah. One of the things that he put on the side with Warner Brothers when it comes to like their IPs, like Harry Potter and Warner and DC and stuff, is that they were built around fandoms, and those are things that you have to think about when you're making these projects, is the fandom and how it's going to affect the fandom. Because it's been a while where we're sitting in this world where you have like these extreme fans that are completely just 100%. I love it. They're never going to hear any sort of criticism, and they are at the upper echelon. That's actually the vast majority of the fans, to be quite honest. The vast majority of the fans are the people that just love something and they're not going to complain about it at all. That is the majority. Then you have the trickle down, like the different like levels of fandom. You have the fans who love the comic books or the cartoons or whatever, and they want it all to be the fidelity to be there where everything's the same. You're going to have that group that exists. Then you're going to have fans like what I think our bubble is, which is people that love stuff. You love to talk about it, but you're also willing to admit when something isn't right or if it doesn't work or whatever. You're going to give your honest opinion about it. And then you have that toxic side of the fandom where it's just all negativity and all hate. And when they're making these projects, the only portion of the fandom that they care about, because it is the largest portion, is the portion of the fandom that is going to support and cheer on anything and everything that they do. Everybody else to them is expendable. And that includes fans like ourselves who are not totally on board with everything they do. So we go out on the front lines and we're like, no, this is actually good. I'm glad they're doing this. And we're defending these decisions against people that are always complaining about this stuff. When they make these moves like this with Robert Downey Jr., it puts us in a position where like we have to admit that some decisions we don't agree with are going to align with the people that have been complaining about stuff forever. However, the people that have been complaining have been asking for Robert Downey Jr. to come back.
Yeah.
So they're complaining about Marvel seeming desperate, which I would agree, it does look visually a little bit desperate from them. I'm not going to say it's full-blown panic, but it definitely looks a little bit desperate from them.
On the surface level, it comes across like that a bit, but we don't know what the storyline. And then
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not freaking out, losing my mind about it. You know.
Yeah, and also I like this is such like a comic book trope. I feel like where it's like, oh, the like lead character that you've been following all these years. Oopsie, they're a villain now. Like that's a trope we've loved for years. And again, if it's done right, I'm actually very down. Like I feel like him coming back and being the villain is not the part that I'm super worried about. Like,
I always go back to the line of the Dark Knight where he goes, "You live long enough to see yourself become the villain."
Exactly.
Except we, as far as I'm concerned, the worst thing they could do is make this like an evil version of the Sacred Timeline's Tony Stark. I think that would be a nightmare. Sure. So I don't think it's going to be actually Tony Stark.
I think they're just going to make it like, because we're going to assume that this Doctor Doom is just like fully teched out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just Collider says it's an alternate version of Doctor Doom.
But no one, that's what I'm
saying. Sorcery, it needs to be.
Everybody.
Mechanics.
Oh, sorry, Darth. Go ahead. You were lagging.
I've just said it needed to be mechanics and sorcery.
Yes.
Yeah. And they can't just be one or the other.
That's what makes Doctor Doom unique, is that he does technology, but he also imbues it with magic.
Well,
that's why he's
do you want to go back to what you were saying before, Eric, about the comic and how it's meant to, it's Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange? Are we just going to get an amalgamation and that's this version of Doctor Doom?
No. I think that Doctor Strange will be. It's going to be Benedict playing the role. I truly believe they're going to have Doctor Strange working alongside Doom. It's the only way it makes sense, because that's how that world is designed. Is you have this moral. You have Doctor Doom, who's like this immoral character.
There's a balance there.
Yeah, there's a balance of power there.
They could, you know, that cliffhanger where he goes off to stop a concursion. What if they use that as the stepping stone for Doom?
What do you mean?
Well, they might turn it into that.
They might turn it into that, like from the original plan. But
I mean, maybe because the thing is that they're totally going to do the incursion thing, because that's why the Fantastic Four is going to be its own little pocket thing.
Yeah.
So they're going to.
They've already introduced pockets.
Yeah. So I know we're going to do that. So
the thing.
No, go ahead.
The thing about Anthony Beltry's comment here, right, is that if he doesn't do some kind of accent, then it's literally Iron Man with a frown and a helmet. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? It's just him in a green hood now instead of a red helmet. Like, come on.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what kind of makes it a little bit difficult, because I don't like this like decision, but I know Robert's going to do a great job. Like, he is a phenomenal actor. We've known he can play a villain. Like my issues with this is not that I don't believe in Robert's ability to play Doctor Doom, because I think he can do well.
And let's remember, Darren, he's also getting paired with the Russo brothers, who have a track record of really popular Marvel films. So, I mean,
and like the one side of this that does make me excited, because I think like Robert Downey, like, opposed to Pedro's Reed, I think is going to be a fun back and forth. Like, those two are really strong actors.
By the way, quickly on that, can we? Did you?
What are you sharing, by the way, down here? Is it relevant to what we're talking about or no?
Sort of. It's like it ties into the history.
Sort of. Great.
The hell?
No.
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 So
that can't be.
No, just quickly on the Reed Richards thing, Pedro Pascal. I was sort of concerned because like Pedro Pascal just plays Pedro Pascal. He's just playing Pedro Pascal. As Reed Richards, he's just talking. He's not even trying to do anything different. Well, I understand it was like it's test footage, but he's just talking.
The other thing is there is a very different version of Reed Richards in the actual Secret Wars story from 2015. He plays the Maker, which is like another version of Mr. Fantastic.
Do you think in those
they're definitely not going to do that version, because that version of Reed is very like morally gray.
So
like to sacrifice people. And stuff
with
like that.
Doomsday, do you think that's going to be like purely MCU characters for the most part? Like specific, like 616, or do you think multiverse people come into that?
No, because they have to set up the incursion. That's the thing, is both movies.
But I mean, we got like the main team that's going up.
Like,
against them.
So in the comics, the way they do it is they have both Earths showing how they're trying to stop the incursion individually, and then it comes together in the end. So
So what I was gonna say is they've already shown us acknowledging and dealing with the incursions. They know the 838 universe, like they're already so on top of incursions that they are just barring anybody that's not from there to be there. So like it's a like already an existing problem. So I think we'll be getting some of it. Some people will be further along with the problem. Some people might be working together. Some people obviously against. I think it's gonna be really interesting, but I think we will get other people.
I think for me, and this is kind of where we're going to wrap everything up, and I'll give everybody their final thoughts. But for me, I'm excited about what these two movies mean, because I do like 2015 Secret Wars. I think there's a lot of really good stuff in it, and it means that they'll probably pick the best of the best characters to continue in the MCU. My biggest concern is the Robert Downey Jr. thing, because it's a very specific way for them to nail it, and I don't even know if they could. I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
The second thing is that this gives them the ability to erase characters or kill off characters that they don't want to continue with.
Yeah.
And
make new
What
ones.
does that mean? Like, who are we getting rid of? And could it be characters that I give a fuck about? Because if it is, then I'm going to be really mad about it. So
I think this is going to I think what's going to happen is the how mutants were introduced in the the original timeline are going to be well known now. Like they're going
as a consequence.
As part of the consequence, they're going to be well known. Like they're going to be in the forefront spotlight of Phase 7.
No. I think you're right about that. I think that what's going to happen is we're going to get a mixed history. But the problem with that is the general fandom and how they're able to accept that, because we don't know what that history is going to look like. When the worlds come back together in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, everyone has their own individual title that allows you to learn how the world looks after all of the incursion events and Doom World and everything. We've already seen that they want to pull back on the amount of stuff they're putting out to like 2 shows a year, 3 movies a year, whatever it is. Will we really be able to fully realize what that looks like in the current landscape of Marvel? I don't know. I have no idea. And that's my biggest concern about it, is that we're going to lose characters we love, and there's going to be little to no fanfare about them. So,
or we're going to lose characters that we hate. and they're going to be basically listening to the
that
audience.
is a rose-colored lens way to look at the way this is going to be handled.
Well, I was going
I
to say,
don't
do
that
you
way.
think they're looking at the performance, I guess more specifically post Endgame, and gone,
Yes.
yeah, this character's pointless. Even maybe not getting rid of them, but like not putting attention. Like they're just a They're just a recurring.
Well, let's be clear here.
guest
One
star
thing we will
MCU.
not see is dead characters come back to life, because that's not what Secret Wars was. Like, it was just variants of characters basically. So what we will, because there were characters that were killed off during the incursion that did not come back. So I think that's really what it's going to be about. We won't see characters come back to life, but we will see them introduce new versions of characters.
Well, there's just
yeah, like 100%. We're getting the original 6 back, right? Let's not beat around the bush. Like, there's no way they do Secret Wars and do not give us variants of the 6.
Oh, 100%.
Younger versions of the 6, so they can restart what the Avengers.
Well, no, but I think he means like. Well, do you mean like so they're going to recast Captain America?
Yes,
we're getting a Cap back. We're
Iron
getting
Man.
an Iron Man back. We're getting potentially another Hulk. We're getting Black Widow.
But they will exist in the same world with characters that they like. So there could be 2 Captain Americas in the same world.
Like Sam Wilson could still exist, but there's also a new Steve Rogers.
Yes. Because that's how Miles Morales and Peter Parker both exist in the same world.
I will be so surprised if we actually get a variant of Bucky as Captain America, a variant as Sam Wilson as Captain America, and a variant as Steve Rogers as Captain America.
They're going to be. I have a feeling they're going to be very, very selective. We're going to get the big characters back. Yeah. They're going to be
it's
younger
obvious.
castings.
I think it's obvious.
You're going to get probably.
You're going to get your X-Men. Like I think a lot of your main X-Men, like, or you get multiple. Like you might get Fassbender and McKellen, and then also.
Let me just interject for a second before you go on. We will get a mix-up of the more popular ones that people love with ones that people didn't like, recast with different actors. That's what we're going to end up getting.
Yeah. I think it also depends like what stages. Like I don't think they're going to recast Shang-Chi. They'll keep Shang-Chi as
no, he was well received as that character,
for example. And whoever it is,
Iron
like,
Fist. They could recast Iron Fist. We could get a new Iron Fist.
Well, I know you love the previous iteration and the previous show, both seasons, especially season 1.
As long as they erase Ben Affleck as Daredevil, I will be happy.
I hope he shows up. I thought he was going to be in Deadpool. I was like, oh, mainly because here's the thing. Here's the hypothetical. I know you love hypotheticals, Eric. You've been going on about them all stream. It's a bit nauseating at times, but Ben Affleck. You see his baton come down, like the little sticky users, and all of a sudden you hear Evanescence's "Bring Me to Life" just slowly.
No,
like,
I'm already out. I'm getting.
You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't want that. But I literally have to wrap.
Oh wait, sorry, I'm an idiot. That was Elektra's song. Why did they not play in Deadpool? Because that's when she's
because they didn't want to pay for that extra song. Probably they didn't want to pay. That's a really expensive song.
Is it?
Yes. So
you sure?
Yes, 100%. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I have a gig tonight. I have to go, but I want to thank everybody for being here.
Can you play Evanescence "Bring Me to Life" at the gig?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
3Up, thank you for being here. Darth Bunyan, thank you for being here. Thank you, Darren, for showing up and giving your opinion on stuff. I know it was all kind of quick and everything. And I appreciate Paigey being here, even though he changed to the, what is that? Is that from Bug's Life?
Yeah.
Gilham. I don't know what his name is. The cat, mate. That movie's tripping. Like he turns into a butterfly, but he just grows little wings. He's still the little fat, well, not little, just fat caterpillar.
Yeah.
He is eating candy corn. I know you like candy corn, Eric.
Yeah, interesting stuff. We're getting out of here. I will see everyone later. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.